but I said it in Discord, but I want to say it here too. I was watching Reddit videos at work this week because they are really good at passing the time. And I found some new ones, some new Reddits that I haven't, subreddits I haven't explored yet, that kind of are along the same lines of Am I the Asshole? Um, I figure we could jump into a few of those today. I don't know how long we'll be live for. Max gets off work early today because it's Max's birthday, but Max is going to join us for a little bit once they are off work. So we'll just play it by ear as usual. I think today I want to start with best of Reddit updates, which is a subreddit I discovered this weekend that looks really interesting. Basically, it's like basically best of Reddit updates is when people come to ask for advice or help anywhere on Reddit, and then they come back for an update later, and the update is just wild. And they've compiled them here on this subreddit, which is super dope. We're gonna do top of the year. Let's see. I gotta figure out how to set it up though, because I want to be able to read it and then like talk about it and then read more of it. All right, I watched this one. This one was interesting. Let's see. Ooh, seems like a lot of these are things I can't talk about on stream. Oh boy. Yep. Okay, let's do month. A lot of these are the ones I've watched. I feel like yesterday. We'll probably only do a couple of these. We definitely will do Am I the Asshole once Max gets here. Let's see. Okay, this one looks perfect. All right. It's long. These ones are long, but let's see. This one was originally posted to r/true off my chest, and then was put here after the updates were posted. It's got 18,000 upvotes, so all right. My 19-year-old sister is getting married to her high school teacher. Yikes. Sounds illegal, doesn't it? America. Jesus. Okay. That's a start right there. That's a Jesus. No. This is the Reddit post. My sister is 20 this year. Let's make it a little bigger. Although if I make it bigger, then it hides behind the goddamn fucking comments, which is stupid. Whatever. It'll just be smaller. I'm reading it anyways, so you can just hear me say it. Okay. The post. My younger sister is getting married to her 36-year-old high school teacher in a few days, and everyone seems okay with it. She graduated a year ago, and they told us they were dating, almost immediately after their graduation. I was shocked and angry, but everyone around me was happy and supportive of them. The teacher divorced his wife 2 years ago and started paying attention to my sister. He spoke to her after class regularly and paid quote-unquote special attention to her studies. I thought it was weird and talked to my sister about this, but she told me he was helping her because she was the best student of her class, which she was. A few months ago, only about a few months into quote-unquote dating, they announced that they were engaged. I tried talking to my parents about their age difference and stuff, but they didn't want to hear it. I talked to my sister and she told me she was happy and that she loves him. We live in a small town with a tight-knit community and everyone else is supporting their marriage. I'm feeling useless right now and I am angry at myself. I was unable to protect my sister. I feel like I failed my duties as an older sibling. I hate everyone around me. How do they not see what's going on here? That is the problematic age gap. I find I like listening to like the relationships posts. This isn't a relationships post, but I listened to a few of them yesterday. And they're always interesting because it'll be like, oh, I, 36, and my partner, 26, and I have been dating for 10 years. And I'm like, that's illegal. Because 10 years ago, that was a child. So, so it's always interesting to listen to the ages of in those relationship posts because the relationship posts are always wild. And then if you're paying attention and can do a little bit of math, it can get even wilder. Hello, Jimmy. They must have rounded up, yeah, honestly. But this is not even like this is what I saw a bit yesterday was like, except that the 19-year-old was had already been in the relationship for 10 years, so they were 29 now. Distracted watching your sister play Zelda. It's valid. So obviously, I agree with the original poster. This is weird and creepy. Not only is this her teacher, but this is a 36-year-old and a 19-year-old. That alone is already bad enough. But then you add the extra power dynamic of him being her teacher, even though he's not anymore because she's graduated. He's still her teacher, which adds in a power imbalance, which simply isn't okay. So we're going to scroll down and read the update. That was May 30th, and the update is on June 5th. All right, update. The marriage happened. I contemplated not going to the ceremony, but I didn't want to hurt my little sister, so I went reluctantly. My blood was boiling throughout the whole thing. Everyone who came to the ceremony congratulated them. I couldn't even look the teacher in the face because I was so angry at him. I hated the whole thing. I'm leaving this town tomorrow. I had some interviews lined up and got selected in one. It's in a city, and I'm moving tomorrow. I can't stand these people. My parents think that getting married to a good guy with a stable job is the best thing that could have happened to my sister, and my relatives agreed. He groomed her. Why doesn't anyone else see that? I wanted to scream at everyone. When I told my sister I was leaving, she cried. I reassured her and told her that I wasn't angry at her. I made it clear to her that she could contact me anytime under any circumstances and that I'd be there for her. I bought her a phone and told her that I'd talk to her regularly. I tried not to antagonize anyone because I want them to reach out to me if anything happens. It was very hard to do. I came very close to fighting several people. Fair. My sister was a star student. I always thought she would go to a big college and become someone significant, but now she's going to be a housewife. That thought is destroying me. I wasn't harsh on her because I'm hoping she wakes up soon, and I want to be there for her when that happens. I want to support her and see her full potential, and I'm wishing it happens soon. Edit. I've told her not to have children unless she's sure. She has a contraceptive implant, and I've told her not to get it removed for at least a couple of years. I told her to tell me if anyone ever pressured her to have it removed. I really hope she follows my advice. Edit 2. I'm just checking the comments, and the amount of people defending the teacher is insane. People like you are the problem. She was groomed since she was 16. Why can't you people see that? I wouldn't have any problem with her choices if she wasn't coerced into them. Him being an older man isn't my issue here. Him being her teacher is. I also don't think that being a housewife is bad. What I don't like is that the choice of something more is being taken away from my sister. As for the phone thing, my parents had not allowed my sister to own a phone. She had to use the landline if she wanted to talk to people. That's why I bought her a phone. I was wondering about that too, so I'm glad that was answered there. My issue is also the age gap. That age gap would be problematic even if he wasn't her teacher, but it is just made exponentially more problematic by the fact that he is her teacher, because it adds a power imbalance. There's already a power imbalance between someone who's almost 40 years old and someone who's 19. Because I look at a 19-year-old as like a child, because me at 19, y'all remember that. That was a while ago. Things were very different. 19 is very young, and it 19-year-olds are people, like they have their own thoughts and wishes and dreams, but they're still children. Like, I mean, my brain still isn't even done fully developing yet. So, like, a 19-year-old is still kind of in the throes of puberty, if you think about it, especially since he started grooming her at 16, which is even worse. Yes, 19 was 4 years ago. 4 to 5, because I'm almost 24. So I'm 23 for a few more months. Max is 24 today. So, yeah. Yes, I'm 23 right now. So, big changes in the last 4 years, right? I was a fucking fetus 4 years ago. So, I'll never understand people who are okay with that massive of an age gap. Like, if she was 19 and he was like 21, 22, I feel like that'd be a little less weird, but I think once you have to both be in your like mid-20s before big age gaps stop being issue, like by themselves. Like for me personally, I feel like you have to be 25 before you start dating people who are 10, 15, 20 years older than you, because your brain's not fully developed yet. So that older person has every opportunity to mold you into what they want. But the younger you are, the easier that becomes. So the fact that she was 16 when this started is getting married now. Not only getting married at 19, which is already, in my opinion, weird and shouldn't happen that young. But she's getting married to someone who used to be her teacher and is 36 years old. Almost 20 years older than her. So, big yikes everywhere there. Because a full-ass, grown-ass adult who's willing to marry a 19-year-old or an 18-year-old was willing to marry that person when they were 17 years old, but legally could not. At least in some states. In some states, you can marry people as young as 13 years old. I live in one. So, I hate it here. Only one more week, though. Woo! Yeah, that's a good update. I'm glad she posted that update. And there is another one after this, so we're going to get even more information. Peaking at 18 is so sad. Like, that's just so early in life to peak. It's depressing. All right. Update number 2. All right. I wanted to share an update on my sister's situation since it's been a year, and the situation has changed significantly in a positive way. Since the marriage a year ago, I've made it a point to talk to my sister regularly on the phone that I gave her. A few weeks in, her husband started pushing her to be a quote-unquote traditional wife role. Shocking. Which created a wedge between her and her friends. But I made sure to keep in touch and to visit her once every month. Her husband did not like that, but he tolerated it to keep up appearances. To deal with my frustrations, I joined a gym and started working out. Luckily, my boss at my job turned out to be a great lady who listened to me and gave me a lot of support and advice. She told me I could call her when I needed help and became my mentor and an older sister I could lean on, while also paying me as well. Some months into the marriage, her husband managed to domesticate her completely. She stopped going out almost entirely and had very little independence, and he tried to start separating my sister from me. However, because I kept a good and consistent relationship with her, he wasn't able to. A couple of months ago, he started hinting to my sister about wanting kids, but I kept repeating to my sister that she could not have children until a few years into marriage. Last month, he told her directly that he wanted children, and my sister told him that she wanted to wait. He started pressuring her to get her contraceptive plant removed. So last week, I went back home to talk to him. I always try to be polite to him whenever I visit their home so that he doesn't have any ammo to try to separate us. During conversation, I brought up that he was pressuring my sister to get her contraceptive implant removed. It escalated into an argument with him saying that he had a right to have children with his wife. When I didn't back down, he got frustrated and took a swing at me, which didn't connect properly. I didn't hesitate in punching him back in the face. He fell backwards and started howling in pain. I've wanted to do that since this whole ordeal started, and it was very satisfying. I think him hitting me was my sister's wake-up call. He called the cops and told them I assaulted him. Fortunately, I make sure to record everything whenever I visit their home. I use my Apple Watch for this. It's a great tool for stealthy audio recording. I called my boss and told her about what happened, and she promised to send a lawyer just in case. Oh, iconic. We love an iconic boss. When the cops arrived, my sister took my side, which surprised her husband. With me being a woman and with the recording, the cops also took my side. The lawyer arrived after that, and I told her husband that I was taking my sister with me. He tried to protest, but the lawyer warned him that I would press charges if he stopped my sister from leaving. He reluctantly let her go, and she has been staying with me for the last week. My parents were furious when they found out that my sister had left her husband. They did not seem to care that he hit me, probably because I stopped talking to them. I'm still talking to my sister about what she wants to do, and will probably start divorce proceedings in a few days. Her husband and my parents have been trying to call to get her to come back, but I've made sure that she doesn't talk to them without me present. Throughout the whole thing, my boss has been super helpful and has been giving my sister advice about what she could do next. I know I'm super lucky that my sister managed to wake up so soon, and that I've had support from people like my boss. Throughout the whole of last year, I was worried about how my sister was going to end up, but I am elated now. Iconic. We love a happy ending. One of the reasons I picked this one, this is a happy ending. Because some of the ones I listened to yesterday, not happy endings. Very, very fucked up endings, and very like open endings. Like this is like a fairly closed book into the story. Like we don't know where her sister will end up later, but she's out of the bad situation, and that's enough closure to work, you know. But then there are some where it'll be like, oh, this crazy thing happened, and then there's no more updates after that, and it's like, but this is the updates Reddit. Where's my update? I need the rest of the story, you know? So I'm glad this one had a nice resolution. And a very good one also. Plus she got to punch him in the face, which is always a plus. And it seems she enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed the idea of it. Which is good. That's good. We like positive stories. Positive stories can be nice because we're probably going to read some infuriating shit today. Because there's a lot of good ones in the subreddits I've got listed here. A lot of like stupid people doing stupid shit or horrible people doing horrible shit. Okay, this one's good too. Ooh, it's long. Okay. It's very long. Okay. Alrighty, so this one has attempted kidnapping in it, so if you're sensitive to that, then you've been warned. I appreciate the trigger warnings on some of these, because some of these things talk about some dork shit, like some dork shit, because this is Reddit, and anything goes on Reddit, pretty much. Alright. Original post was made April 10th, 2023, so fairly recent. And all names have been changed to protect everyone involved. I, 24 female, am a single mom to my son, Owen, who is 8. It's been just us since day one. His father isn't in the picture and has been able to avoid child support for years now, and I've tried everything. My own parents disowned me. I had to drop out of high school and I've worked a myriad of jobs since then to keep us afloat. We aren't on the poverty line by any means, but we definitely live paycheck to paycheck in a one-bedroom apartment. It's not ideal, and I hope within the next couple of years we'll be someplace bigger. For now, it's our situation. I've raised Owen to know that money isn't everything. We may not have a lot. He won't always have the newest this or that, but we have each other. The two of us are very close. He's never gone without the basics, but I admit he doesn't get a lot of fun extras. I try to save a little here and there to make birthdays and holidays fun, but it's still never anything glamorous. And I think Owen was fine with that until recently. In our area, all public schools are based on a lottery system. Your child has a fair shot of going to any of them, so long as you put in their name. Our neighborhood school is not great and in a pretty crappy area, so I decided to put him in a different one across town. It's near my job, so it works out. That's good. Last year when he was in 2nd grade, he met Charlie. They began hanging out a lot after school, with Owen going to his place. I met Charlie's parents, Nate and Paige, a couple of times before this began. They seemed very nice and supportive. Owen always has a great time at their house. Charlie occasionally came to our apartment, but usually they were at his place, which made sense. I work, and there's really not much for them to do here, even when I am off. Summer breaks are easy to find care, as there are several free or low-cost camps that I can put Owen in. It's the shorter breaks, such as Christmas and spring, that are hard. Camp space is limited. Spring break of 2022, I managed to just miss registration. Paige is a stay-at-home mom and offered to take Owen for the week. I was hesitant to ask so much of her, but she insisted. He had a really fun time with them. They did a ton of activities, and Paige refused my attempts to pay her back, at least some. I couldn't afford all. I admit I did feel a tad uncomfortable with her spending this much on my son, but at the same time, I didn't want to deprive Owen of this stuff. It's fair. Summer came, and while I did get Owen into camp, he spent a ton of time with Charlie as well. He ended up going on vacation with them. I was again very hesitant, but the experience was something I could never give Owen, and it wasn't too far away. He had a blast. I kept telling Nate and Paige that there's no way I could ever pay them back, and they kept insisting that they loved having Owen around. They told me what a great kid he is, sweet and respectful. At one point, I really pressed Paige as to why she's so insistent on having Owen around so much. That's when she told me that they never planned for Charlie to be an only child, but all attempts at giving him a sibling just didn't happen. They know that Owen will never make up for not having a brother, but if they can give him a constant playmate so he's not lonely, they'll do it. Should this have been a red flag? Maybe. But at the same time, I found it sweet that the boys considered each other brothers. I thought it was innocent. Surely Paige and Nate knew the truth, right? Right? Based on the trigger warning on this story, I'm going to say no. All right, this continued for a bit. Come Christmas break of 2022, Paige and Nate insisted that I not even bother trying to get Owen into a camp. They'd take care of him for me. I was grateful. They ended up getting him more Christmas gifts than I did. I tried to set my pride aside because it was about Owen, not me. This is still when things finally started seeming off to me. I understood a gift on his birthday, and while they didn't get him as many gifts as they got Charlie, it was a lot more than you would typically get your kid's friend. Fast forward to now. Spring break was last week, and this time, Paige and Nate didn't just offer to take care of him during the day while I worked. They asked if Owen could spend the entire week at their house. Honestly, it meant I could pick up some more shifts and save up for the bike Owen wants for his birthday, so I said yes. I went to pick him up on Saturday afternoon. The kids were playing out back, so Nate and Paige asked to talk to me. They sat me down and said they love Owen, and he's always such a joy to have. I thank them profusely for all that they've done for him. Paige suggested that Owen stay a little longer. I pointed out Easter was Sunday, plus school started back up on Monday. They said they could take him to school. I felt weird and said no, it was time for Owen to come home. That's when Nate suggested that Owen stay with them long term. I could still see him, but they would take care of him. I thought they were joking and said, like what, you'd be his guardians or something? They got quiet and the reality rushed over me. I pointed out that this wasn't a movie. They can't just get custody. They started spouting some legal stuff about how I could assign them as guardians and they would help make this transition smooth. They told me to think about Owen and what's best for him. I told them there was no way in hell I was going to give up my son. Obviously. I grabbed Owen and we left. I've blocked their numbers. Owen has no clue what's going on. I'm keeping him home tomorrow and took the day off work to figure some stuff out. Legally, they can't take him, but now I know what they want and I'm terrified. I don't want him going back to that school. Do we move? I'm so lost. I feel so stupid looking back. All the warning signs were there. I know Owen is going to be devastated losing Charlie, Paige, and Nate. However, how am I ever going to explain it to him? Yeah, how do you explain that to your child? Especially when they're still young. Like, if they were a little bit older, I feel like that'd be something you could explain a little better. I mean, they're going to hate it because Charlie's his best friend, but like, whew, that's a lot. All right, relevant comments. In response to some now removed accusations of neglect, quote, I can't take care of my kid. He's never gone hungry. Oh, I can take care of my kid, sorry. He's never gone hungry. The lights are always on. He has clothes, albeit some from Goodwill or donations. We lived in our car briefly when I was 17, but it pulled us out of that situation and we'll never be in that place again. I have health insurance. He goes to the doctor. He has vaccines. He just doesn't have an iPad or summer vacations. What he does have is love. His favorite stuffed giraffe that I got him when I was pregnant. I love for the park. He isn't deprived. He has a good life. I love him and I'm never giving him up. Maybe these parents have been turned down by foster/adoption agencies. I've suspected this too. It seems like they don't want another child. They want Charlie to have a permanent playmate buddy, and I don't know much about the system, but if they were as honest as they were with me, I could see them being turned down. Yeah, I never got that he was being neglected. She's just poor, so she can't afford to take him on vacations and buy him expensive gifts like fucking iPads and shit. Like, that's completely understandable. Like, because she said she had him when she was, like, young. She's 24, he's 8, so, yeah, young, 16. She had him when she was 16, and has been on her own since. So the fact that they only briefly lived in her car when she was 17 is incredibly impressive, that she's managed to give him any form of stability at all for his whole life. Like, that's incredibly impressive and incredibly difficult to do, especially currently in our current economic situation. Some of the shit that we read on Reddit is fucking wild, though. I love them just sitting her down and being like, so, give us your child. He should be ours now. We're gonna take him. He's gonna be ours. Oh boy. Okay, so this is an update from the comments later that day. She chose to stick by him. Other people may have just put the kid up for adoption. Yeah, exactly. Which is also an understandable thing to do. Having a kid at 16 is fucking hard. So and not recommended by most people. So if she had put him up for adoption when he was born, yeah, that would have been fine. It would have made sense. Having a kid that young will completely screw up your life. Like, that's like, because once you have a kid, that's what your life is, that kid now. That's how having kids works. But she chose to stick by him and chose to keep him, and is apparently going to continue to do that, because why the fuck would she give him up now? That's her kid. And I understand how she was bamboozled by these people, because, like, looking back on something, it's very easy to be like, oh yeah, no, how did I miss that? I'm fucking stupid. But in the moment, like, you're not thinking that these people are gonna try to fucking take your fucking child. You know what I mean? So, like, you just think they got the extra money and they're being really generous. You know, like, your brain doesn't usually go to worst case scenario in situations like this. It's only after the fact that you look back on it and you go, oh, there were red flags. Oops, you know. So, yeah. All right. So, post won't let me update here to blah, blah, blah. Okay. There's no way I can respond to everyone, so I just want to say thank you for the advice. While I understand those saying they potentially meant well and weren't trying to be offensive, it's still a risk I can't take. It's not like they offered to take him every so often. They wanted him full-time permanently. To those who said I should just let them, please pass me whatever drugs you are on. I will never give up my son. Do we have the newest this or that? No, we have our needs met. I love my son, and I'm not letting him go. As for everyone else, I took your advice and reached out to the school. I told them that Paige and Nate are no longer allowed to pick up Owen, and explained I do not feel safe with them around each other. They understood. There's not much they can do outside making sure they never pick him up. It's too late in the year to move classes, but next year Charlie and Owen will not be in the same class. I notified the police, but again, they can't do much. We have zero in writing, and a simple request to have my child isn't really breaking any laws. Unfortunately, all I can do is hope they don't try anything. I still haven't spoken to Owen. I think it's fine if he talks to Charlie and plays with them at school, but I have to find a way to explain that they can't have play dates or sleepovers, as well as to never go anywhere near Nate and Paige. I guess that'll come in time. I'll update again if anything happens. I'm hoping this is the end, as some of Nate and Paige's defenders said. They did take my no well, so hopefully they realize how totally out of bounds they were and leave us alone. Okay. Update number 2. I'm going to jump right into it because there's not much to talk about in the last one. Monday night, I talked to Owen and explained that Nate and Paige were not safe. He was confused, and I explained that they wanted to take him away from me. I think it spooked him as he started crying, saying he didn't want to leave me and he didn't want to see them again. I held him and assured him that he wasn't going anywhere. He understands he's never to go anywhere near them and that the school is taking measures to protect him. I said he could still talk and play with Charlie at school. He said he doesn't want to. I was honestly worried he'd hate me, but you were all right. Telling him the full story made him realize how serious it was. He understands the gifts and trips will stop, but he says that he's all right with it. Also, I wanted to address one last thing. I've gotten a few people offering me money or gifts. Please do not do that. I'm very appreciative, but that is not the purpose of this post. If you do wish to do something, donate to your local shelter or another charity. Owen and I are not in need. I'd rather see it go to people who need it. I didn't see Nate or Paige at drop-off, nor have I gotten in any contact. But then again, I did block them everywhere. Thank you for your help. I'll update if anything else happens. Hopefully it worked. Hopefully it won't. Yeah. This is the kind of situation where you kind of hope there's no more updates after this, because this is a good spot to stop. And any more updates are probably a bad thing. So, you know. So, yeah. I think that's kind of cute that she was like, you can still play with Charlie. And he was like, oh, no, I don't want to risk that. No, thanks. That's kind of cute, actually. He was like, no, unsafe. All right. Another update. 4 days later. I've tried to post this update in True Off My Chest, but it keeps getting auto-deleted. Oh, that's another one I need to add. I love True Off My Chest. There's a lot of good shit in there. Because it's just like anonymous confessions, so that's some good shit. But it keeps getting auto-deleted since I have so many followers. I figured I'd update here and hopefully it gets around. Well, what everyone feared would happen did. Tuesday, he returned to school. I told him he could still talk and play with Charlie. I was hesitant to drop him off, but figured you can't live in fear. Most afternoons, my son takes the bus to a local rec center for aftercare. I'd already told the school everything, that Nate and Paige were not to pick up Owen. I managed to call and even make sure he got on the bus. Aftercare was also made aware of the change in the pickup list. Well, a half hour later, I get a call that Paige had tried to pick up my son. The front desk refused to release him, didn't say why, just that she was no longer on the list. She wouldn't leave, and the police were called. She was escorted out of the building. While she wasn't brought to jail, there is a police report, and I'm using this to go to court and get an order of protection. Paige and Nate are also banned from the rec center, so if they do show up, they will get arrested for trespassing. The police are working on ways to protect us, and the local social systems office has been made aware of the situation. So should they try to make a claim, they're aware of the situation. Well, at least she wasn't successful. I was concerned that there was going to be a whole, like, situation. Thank you. I spoke to him Monday evening, so he knew what he was walking into on Tuesday. It freaked him out a lot, and he said he absolutely didn't want to leave me, so he's aware and knows to never go with them. Okay, that's good, too. It's important that the kid knows not to get in the car with them, because if the kid doesn't know, then things can still go wrong, even if the adults present do everything they can. So it's very important that the kid is aware of the situation. So I'm glad she did eventually tell him, and that he's understanding, that he gets it, that he knows, that he understands, you know. That was a wild one. That's a lot of reading. We don't usually get that much reading out of an Am I the Asshole post. I don't understand people like this. Do they think kids are toys? If so, how the fuck did they even get the first one? Yeah, honestly. Oh, well, guess we're done with that one. Hello? Plot twist, the kid isn't theirs either, right? Honestly, this subreddit would. Honestly, this subreddit would, genuinely. Okay, I don't know why my thing has suddenly changed. Like, I can't see the upvotes anymore. Weird. All right, well, I guess I just won't get to see how many upvotes these posts have. All right. Oh, I clicked a user. That's what happened. I was very confused. All right. Back. There we go. The page doesn't really change a lot. When you click onto a user's page, it just changes at the very top of the page in like a very small spot. So that's why I missed it. I'm also not very versed in Reddit, so yeah. It took me a minute. There we go. Page also loaded weird that time as well. Mr. Reddit? Yeah, no, I haven't been on Reddit in ages. All right, so those are good. All right. Pulling up a few good ones. Ooh. All right, I've pulled up a few. Alrighty, let's jump into some of these. This one's not quite as long as the last one, so we'll see how it goes. Gonna get a lot of reading done today. All right, am I the asshole for refusing to change my style at work even though my boyfriend says it is unprofessional? All right, obviously the original was posted in Am I the Asshole? And the original post was posted on April 22nd, 2023. I, 24 female, have been dating my boyfriend, 26 male, for about 8 months. I've always had a very alternative look, even as a child, and that got more expressive as I grew up. Colorful hair, facial piercings, tattoos, and a very dark and bold makeup look. This is how I feel most comfortable and happy. When we started dating, my boyfriend said he liked my look, even though he himself dresses very basically. He even hyped me up when I showed him new makeup looks or outfits. However, a few days ago, as I was getting ready for work, he kept making weird faces at me. I asked him what was up, and he said nothing, but kept shaking his head. This really irritated me because he was obviously bothered, but I wasn't going to entertain his huffy behavior. I finished getting ready and tried to kiss him goodbye like I always do, but he just turned away from me. This really hurt my feelings, and I can't even lie, I did cry a little bit on the way to work. I tried to text him during my breaks, but he didn't respond at all. When I finally got home, and he still wouldn't say anything to me, I lost it. I asked him what his problem was and why he was treating me this way. He mentioned my clothes and simply said that. I obviously didn't know what he meant, so I asked what he was talking about, and he said something like, quote, "I just can't believe you'd wear that to work." I was confused because this is what I always wear. I told him that, and he was like, "Yeah, I know, it's so unprofessional, you'll never accomplish anything looking like that." I couldn't believe he said that to me. I was fighting back tears at this point, trying to tell him that my job allows it, and I'm not the only one at work that dresses like this. He just kept repeating himself, and said that clearly it's not a good kind of job if they allow me to look like that. So she dresses alternative, but her work is fine with it, but it's going to hurt her work life if she dresses like that. Okay, sounds like he needs to butt the fuck out of her business. Like, for people who do dress alternatively and have, like, facial piercing, like a lot of facial piercings, not just, like, a nose ring or something, like a lot of facial piercings or a lot of piercings in general, a lot of tattoos, like, it can be harder to find jobs because the job market's fucking stupid. So she has found a job that allows her to dress the way she wants to and live the way she wants to while at work, which is already hard to do in the first place. And he's giving her shit about it all of a sudden. I wonder if there's if he's always had an issue with it and has just never said anything about it, and like actually doesn't like it, and never has, because that feels weird to just all of a sudden be a dick about it, you know what I mean? To just suddenly be like, yeah, you look stupid, like, why are you dressing like that, you know? All right. I couldn't take it anymore and left to go to my sister's house. He called me and I told him to fuck off, that I wasn't going to change my look because he didn't like it. He called me selfish, saying that I'm ruining our future together because I can't sacrifice one thing so we could have a good life together. Maybe his alternative was a phase. Yeah, probably. Even though my job allows it and is a good paying office job, there was no reason for me to sacrifice anything. After that, I hung up on him and ignored him the rest of the night. I explained everything to my sister, and she does agree my look is unprofessional, but if it doesn't cause issues at work, then it shouldn't matter. Exactly. And now he's like, ew, no, yeah. Maybe he thought it was going to be a phase, and then it wasn't, and he can't handle that. That might be what it is. The next day, I had about 1 million messages from him saying how selfish I'm being and ruining our future. I started feeling guilty about leaving. I feel like I'm not wrong here, but even my sister kind of agreed with him, so I don't know. TLDR, my boyfriend got upset that I wore unusual alternative style to work, saying it's unprofessional. We started arguing. I left. I told him I wouldn't change. He says I'm being selfish. Am I the asshole here? No, you're not the asshole. You need to leave him. Also, my stomach is grumbling. Please ignore that. My breakfast. This is my breakfast, so please ignore my grumbling stomach. No, he's the asshole. Like, what the fuck? Like, I would understand if maybe it was causing you issues at work, that his concerns could be a little more valid, but they clearly aren't. It's not causing any problems, so I don't know why the fuck it would matter. No, he's the asshole. Okay, relevant clarificational comments. Reading through the comments, and I noticed a few recurring questions, so I'll answer best as I can. As for my job, I work in insurance. I don't want to give too much information more than that for privacy reasons, but this is a well-paying job. I've gotten promoted twice in the 2.5 years I've been here, and my direct manager is covered in tattoos. I also don't wear anything inappropriate. I'm always fully covered, so my appearance genuinely is not an issue. As for a sudden change, I really don't understand it either. I guess it's possible someone said something to him, but he didn't mention that. We haven't talked since I came back either because he's ignoring me now. We don't technically live together. He just stays over at my place most of the time, so I'm assuming he went back to his mom's. I do plan on having serious discussion with him about what happened and our relationship. Question. Girl, why did you leave your place? Answer. I left because I was very emotional and didn't want to make things worse. We don't live together, but he does stay with me most days. Things have been so good the entire relationship, so I was completely caught off guard by this. I felt guilty because he does seem concerned for me, but he also isn't listening, which is upsetting. All right. 5 days later, update. I was not allowed to post an update on the Am I the Asshole subreddit, so I decided to post it here for anyone who wanted to know what ended up happening. So you guys were right. My boyfriend finally came back to my apartment Sunday, no message or call, just walked in like nothing happened. I immediately started questioning him, asking him where the hell he's been and why he hasn't been answering me. He gives me a half-assed response saying his mom needed help with something and that he forgot to tell me. I told him that he can't just ignore me for 3 days, and he said he wasn't, even though he clearly was. I was already getting upset, so I told him that even if he wasn't ignoring me, the way he treated me before he left was messed up. Of course, he just starts saying he didn't do anything wrong and that he was just trying to help me see how I'm hurting us both by dressing the way I do. I tell him for like the 500th time that my job does not care what I wear, and it is not his concern. He said even if my work was okay with it, other people do and shouldn't have to suffer because of it. This is where shit went south. I started yelling, who is saying that and why does it even matter? He says no one, but he says, quote, but he, quote, sees the way people stare and it embarrasses him. I cried because I was so hurt. He told me to stop being dramatic and that it isn't a big deal, but at this point, I'm beyond pissed. I said if he's so embarrassed of how I dress, he can date someone else. He starts to freak out, saying that it's not what he meant, and he's worried about what people think. I keep asking which people, because clearly their opinion is more important than how I feel. He just kept looking around, trying to change the subject, because it's him. It's not people. The people is him. Saying shit like there's no one specific, but I told him I didn't want to hear it and to leave right now. He was saying things like, are you serious? You're really going to act this way over clothes? I just told him to get out over and over, and eventually he left, making a big deal of stomping out and slamming the door. Yep. Monday, I put all of his shit in a box and left it outside and texted him he can come pick it up when he brings me back my key. I told him you're done because I won't be with someone who treats me like this. He kept messaging me, but I just ignored all of it. He came by at some point and picked up his stuff, but didn't leave the key. I was extremely worried that he would try to come back in my apartment while I was asleep or away, so I called my dad and he changed the locks for me. Overall, I'm just extremely emotionally exhausted and heartbroken. I knew his behavior towards me was shitty, but I was truly hoping it was him being bad at communicating. I was way too hung up on it being about my style and not him being manipulative like you guys were saying. I do think maybe someone specific got into his head, but he wouldn't say who. Either way, it doesn't really matter because it's over. I appreciate all the kind comments and messages from the last post. He is toxic. I am annoyed and embarrassed and didn't want to see it. Done with work?
I am.
She left him.
What? I haven't been listening.
She kicked him out.
I trust this is good.
It's always good when she kicks him out.
Usually, yeah.
9 times out of 10, it's good when she kicks him out. We have a Max. Everyone say hello, Max.
Hello. Hi, Jimmy. Hi, Jarek.
It's a birthday, Max.
How are you guys?
I'm sure more people will show up as we get later in the day, as it is quite early for me. So I'm usually only just now live. So,
My chair because there's stuff all over that one.
Yes, there's stuff all over everything in here because it's where all the boxes and shit are. Don't run into my poster.
Yep. You're gonna have to move it.
I'm gonna have to get up.
Yeah.
Oh. No, usually I'll have an hour from now when I'm about to go to sleep. Yeah, I'm usually live around 2 or 3, and it's 2:14, so.
Should I get headphones with a cord, or are you not playing?
You don't need headphones.
I mean, I know we're reading Reddit, but I didn't know if you were also playing music.
No, I just have my headphones on in case there's a notification or something.
Alright.
Alright, let's change cameras.
Well, yeah, he's not particularly on time. Oh, God. It was just my face for a second.
We just leave Max down here. I'll be in the top corner and you can just chill down here over the comments.
No, that's weird. My face is so much bigger than you. That's what I particularly don't like, is that I am so much bigger.
Yeah, Lord Max.
Large. Very much not in proportion with the size of my body. Large Max on camera, tiny Max in real life.
Yes. Mm-hmm. My face still looks really big in comparison to yours.
A little bit, but it's also because I'm not quite as close to the
You can scoot back this way. I just wanted to turn.
Scoot
so
back?
Yeah, you can scoot back over here. I just
You're
wanted to
turning
turn.
this-
Yeah, I just wanted to turn and I couldn't because the. So I just lifted it up.
Is this okay?
I feel like we're sitting closer than the camera says we are.
Yeah. I think it's it's because you're turned towards your farthest right monitor. So if you turned back and then I scooted a little bit closer to you, we would appear much more close than we currently do.
Where's the fucking...
2 feeds of me. I think that's a lot of max. That's a lot of max. Large max for my large age.
What about that?
That is interesting. You just look so pale. You look so vampiric next to me.
Well, because it's a different camera, so...
I am also very red, though.
Yeah.
You could do me in the right corner, you in the left corner. Oh, you would obscure some of the text, though.
Yeah. I can put me down here.
Just...
Make you big over here.
Big boy.
Yeah. I don't know how I'm not centered in the camera, but... Yeah, that's better. You see how far over I had to move it, though? Mm-hmm. And now you can see my posters and stuff, and you can see Venom. And you can almost see Link. Hold on. Get out. Or not Venom. Get out of the way, Carnage. Put Link there instead. He's barely in frame, but he's there. There. Now
Is that better?
They should be able to hear you better now.
So I'm a bit louder.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's a little in the way of my mouse, but...
I'm already not particularly quiet, though.
No. I mean, no. Guess not, no.
I look so red. Why do I look so red?
It's the camera settings.
I mean, I am also wearing sweats and a hoodie.
You're also more red than me in general, and it's also the camera.
Yes.
I can turn down the saturation. Make you gray.
No, thank you.
No?
It's fine. You can return me to my natural state.
Your natural state of red. Yeah.
Yes. People used to make fun of me because I looked like I was blushing all the time, but in
I
reality...
You're not as pale as me, but that's the camera settings.
That's actually a pretty natural.
Because they're different cameras. One of them's Logitech, one of them's Exigo. So, and I've got another Exigo somewhere.
The adjustments look more like me in real life.
They're going to have so many camera angles at the new place. I'm going to find a way to set up all the cameras in different places throughout the apartment for like different things. Like maybe have one set up so I can stream from the couch, and like one on each monitor so I can have all angle.
3 cameras of Nico.
I have 3 webcams and an actual camera. So like I'm only using 2 webcams right now. The camera's not in use, and I've got another one that's unopened in the box. So, all the options. Overlapping
feeds,
yes.
Me a webcam, and then when I join your streams, I could also be on a webcam. But I also have a webcam on my laptop.
And your phone.
And my phone.
Yeah.
So those are options.
But
it'd probably be better to just call on Discord, though.
Yes. And you could just be your voice.
Mm-hmm. My mix voice.
Yeah. Gotta entice in the viewers. Not conceited at all? No, not at all.
You could put Reddit with Max the birthday boy.
I called you the birthday Max in in Discord.
Am I the birthday Max?
You are the birthday Max. Max is old.
I'm not old. I'm 24.
That's old.
I like 24 better than 23.
I wonder how that makes Jarek feel.
23?
Calling you old.
Well, how old is Jarek? Is he in...
He's older than us. Not by much, though.
I feel sure that he has told us before.
Oh, probably. Most certainly.
I don't know. If I knew how long he'd been in the military, that would help. But he's not old. Nico, I'm not old either. I'm older than I was, which is nice.
Yes, which means you're old.
23 is just that, like, awkward age in between, like, your early 20s and your mid-20s. 24 is still a little bit of an awkward age, but not, like, as much. It's definitely more on the side of, like, okay, you're kind of more of an adult now.
Yeah, and then Jimmy's even older. He's 25.
He's 25?
Yeah,
okay,
I don't know how old Jarek is, but I think he's older than that, so.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah. Not by a lot, though. I don't think he's, like, ancient or anything.
No.
Unlike us, we're old as fuck, so.
No, I think it was just a couple years apart or something.
Yeah. You like my breakfast?
Delicious breakfast.
It has 91% of my daily added sugars.
I finished my breakfast like an hour ago.
When I drink more than one of these a day, I get well
you said
over
how much?
91% of my daily added sugars.
That is so sad.
Yeah, and 17% of my total carbohydrates.
Oh, you offered to pay for dinner? My mother also offered to pay for dinner. So either you pay for dinner and I keep my mother's money, or my mother pays for dinner and you give me your money.
I could just pay for dinner and you can keep your mother's money. Okay. How much did she give you?
I don't know, actually. She just said she direct deposited it.
Ah, nice. That's what my mom usually does as well.
Yep.
So she doesn't have to talk to me. She just says, I put money in your account, and I go, thank you.
Perks of banking with your parents.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I didn't have them take her off my account when I changed my name on it. I was like, leave her there, so she can still send me money through it.
I absolutely adore that I still have USAA. Like, technically, I don't think I should, but, like, let's see.
Did I?
She sent me $40.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I don't plan on spending that much money tonight.
I told her we're eating at Chili's, and Chili's is obviously more expensive
that's
than
about
just
how much
getting
Chili's
fast food.
costs.
So, yeah.
That's about how much, especially if the 2 for $25 or whatever was still a thing, but I don't think it is at the one here. Yeah.
No, they have like the discounted, like, you can get an appetizer and an entree and a side, but they don't have the 2 for $25 anymore. I think that was too good of a deal.
It was.
And they got rid of that during the pandemic.
It was. Yeah. Yeah, no, we're gonna go to Chili's. We'll pre-order it and go pick it up and come home, watch a movie or something. Whatever you want to watch.
I know I want to do a rewatch.
John Wick?
I was thinking, like...
Because we were just talking about John Wick yesterday.
John Wick is good. Pacific Rim is good. One of the Hunger Games movies is good.
Oh, I love Pacific Rim. It's been a while since we
Those
rewatched that one.
are kind of the moods.
Yeah. Maybe Pacific Rim. It's been a while since we watched that one.
Okay.
We rewatched both others fairly recently, all things considered. So Hunger Games was longer ago than John Wick, obviously, but
I think
we rewatched John Wick like once a month. So
Hunger Games was last year, I think.
Was it?
Yeah.
And I can't remember the last time I watched Pacific Rim. So
how long would it take to watch all of the John Wick movies?
Very long.
I know we don't have that much time. I'm just curious.
No.
Yeah, chapter 4 is really long, but
we also don't have access to it yet.
Obviously. I think they're all right around a similar length.
Total of 6 hours.
Oh no, they are not.
No, they gradually get longer.
Okay, total 6 hours. That would mean that we
Oh, this doesn't include the fourth one. So
nope.
It's actually 9 hours. So.
Oh, I can buy the fourth one in 4K Ultra HD or whatever it is if I want to.
Most Blu-rays are 4K these days. And they don't advertise it as such because it's Blu-ray.
So they're all 4K, but then you can separately buy 4K UHD. And that's better.
I don't think so.
Because that's a different thing. There's Blu-ray, and then there's 4K UHD Blu-ray.
Is there?
Yes. I don't think all Blu-ray is 4K. I think it's...
Well, not the old ones, no, but...
I think Blu-ray is like 21, whatever.
2180?
Like the 2K.
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't say, but I don't believe Blu-ray is 4K.
Yeah. John Wick 4 was long as fuck.
It was.
I enjoyed it. It was just a little longer than I would have liked from a John Wick movie, just because they're nice and bingeable lengths. Like, the only one that's kind of too long to binge watch is the third one, because 2 and 3 are 2 hours long. But the first one is short as fuck, so you can just sit down and watch it at any time, whereas you kind of have to plan ahead to watch a lot of the other ones, especially the third or the fourth one. Jesus Christ.
I would say my personal ranking is 1 and 2 are in their spots. 3 and 4 are probably tied for my
You just can't beat the
third
original,
favorite.
you know?
For sure.
It's just so good.
And it knew that it wanted to do its thing without, like, fanfare.
Yeah.
You know, the other ones take place in, like, crazy locations, and they have, like,
the first
crazy
one was
fights
like,
with cars and stuff.
Yeah, because they have world building and stuff they do in 2 and 3, and 4 all do world building and stuff, whereas 1 was never planning to be a franchise. It was just this fun project to, you know, do some fun and have some fun action with Keanu Reeves. And then everyone fucking loved it, and now they've got a franchise. So they kind of set the baseline for chances to, like, open up and have, like, they had, like, the inklings of, like, the underworld with, like, the coins they pay with and stuff like that. But they never really, like, fully expanded on it. It was just there as, like, making it a world. John Wick 3 had doggo action.
Yes. Yeah. Good doggos.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we could watch... Do you think we have time? How long is Pacific Rim?
I think it's 2 hours.
Okay. I'm wondering if we have time for John Wick 1 and Pacific Rim. 2 hours, 11 minutes. So that's like almost 4 hours of content.
But it's your birthday.
It is my birthday. Do we have time for 4 hours?
We can make time. You can just go to bed a little late.
Sweet.
Clock into work a little late.
Okay.
Because you got off early today, so you'll have to work late for the week anyways, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this week's gonna suck ass.
It sure is. Tell me about it.
Yeah. Because I'm taking 2 hours off today, which I didn't put in for PTO, so I have to make that back. Plus, I'll have therapy 1 week, which means I'll already have to work 2 hours late on one day.
Thursday, yeah.
Or Wednesday.
Or no, Thursday's in person.
Thursday's in person.
Yeah, it's on Wednesday. I forgot. I literally just looked at it because I had to write my car thing on there. I have to wake up early every single fucking day this week.
I also have a night meeting on Wednesday. I couldn't do it any other day.
Which is just so annoying.
Yeah.
Because I'm seeing Emily tomorrow, hopefully at 1 o'clock. But I have other stuff I want to do. I want to try to go to Plato's Closet before I go see her. I want to drop the shit off and then go see Emily so they can go through my shit. Because sometimes it can take them up to like 6 hours to fucking go through shit. Because if they have a lot of backlog, it'll take them a while. And so then that way they can do that while I'm with her. And then I want to take the clothes in the box over to USPS and ship it as well, which I can do after I hang out with her. But she said 12:30. I said, can we do 1? So I'm going to have to be up at noon. And she usually picks a place that's like 30 minutes away because she's on the other side of town. So I'm going to have to figure that out. And then on Wednesday, the car appointment's at noon, which means I have to be up at like 11:30 at the latest. Max, I'm going to wake up in the a.m. I don't think you understand how difficult that's going to be for me. The goal was to do that today, was to wake up at noon today. That did not fucking happen. I woke up at 1 o'clock. Because my alarm went off at noon and my body said, absolutely the fuck not. Because, I mean, I couldn't go to bed as early last night as I will these next couple nights because I had work. So, I couldn't go to bed at 4 o'clock because I was at work. So, you know, like, I can go to bed early tonight and tomorrow night to sort of make up for the early wake up. But I couldn't last night. The plan for tonight, I have access to it on my site.
I know, it's just sometimes the video quality on your site isn't as good as something you can find on a streaming service, but it's not streaming.
You're not going to find much better than 1080p on a streaming service, so...
Probably not. Netflix has some stuff in 4K.
Yeah, but it's usually only like Netflix originals and
Amazon Prime.
Yeah, Amazon originals will usually get that high as well. But this movie came out in 2013. You're not going to get it 4K regardless of where you get it
Probably
from.
not. Unless you get like restoration or something.
Yeah, or the DVD copy might have 4K. I don't know, but
yeah. Like I was looking up like movies that would be worth it to buy 4K, and a lot of people were saying the restoration of 2001: A Space Odyssey into 4K.
I mean, yeah, that one would need a restoration.
Gorgeous.
Because you said that one was made in the 60s? Yeah, so
came out the same year as my mommy.
Yeah, as
she 58 years old.
Existed. Not the year she came out, the year she was born.
Yeah, she came out.
Yeah. The pussy.
Of my grandmother.
Yeah.
Yes.
Into the world. Yeah. Ever seen The Peripheral? No. No, I have not.
What's that one about?
We could Google it.
Is that up our alley? Let's see. The Peripheral.
Oh, it's Chloe Grace Moretz.
Ooh. Vague, but that does sound interesting.
Much sci-fi, yes.
See if there's a better description. Well, that's probably from IMDb.
Probably, yeah. Or Wiki.
Yep.
Very helpful. Let's read the plot. What happens? Read the whole plot. Because they'll put the whole plot. Oh, is it only those 4 episodes, or is there more that happens?
I think it said somebody asked if it was being renewed.
It says to present, so
yeah, so it is renewed.
Yeah.
And yeah, 4K UHD.
UHD HDR. So many fucking acronyms.
Click on the book. The book might have a better synopsis. Unhelpful, and the summary might be spoilery.
Probably, yeah. Oh, this is a summary. Oh, a Winter's Bone-ish world. Okay.
Oh.
Walmart and the meth trade. So modern day. It takes place in modern day.
Okay, that does sound really interesting. What do I know William Gibson from?
I mean, you worked in the library. You might have just seen his name.
Oh, he pioneered cyberpunk. That's what it is.
Ah. Mm-hmm. And steampunk.
Yeah.
Oh my god, my stomach is going to start growling again.
Yeah, I think that's mainly what I know him from as, like, the father of cyberpunk.
Jarek said it's like Westworld and Ready Player One combined into one.
Oh, sick. I've not seen Ready Player One, but I really enjoyed what we saw of Westworld. I need to go back to that. They canceled it, right?
Yes. I don't think you can access it on HBO anymore.
Yeah, I don't think...
I think it's one of the ones they removed from HBO Max. Or, sorry, it's called Max now.
Ugh.
I'm still going to call it HBO Max, because you're Max. I can't call the streaming service Max. It doesn't work.
I still think it's absolutely crazy that they're removing originals.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Why would you remove an original? What's going to happen
Especially on, like,
to
Westworld. Like, that was so big for a while.
Like, are they selling it, or are they just throwing it away? Because I don't...
Yeah.
Like, surely it's been released on Blu-ray and stuff,
he
but
said
otherwise
it was
it's just
canceled.
dead.
He said it was canceled, and it has been removed from HBO Max. So it doesn't have a conclusion, is what you're saying? Does it end on, like, a cliffhanger, the final season?
Oh, he did Alien 3.
The graphic novel, yeah. It's this graphic novel.
Well, yeah. Yeah, none of these in particular
Westworld was supposed to be the
familiar.
interim show between Game of Thrones seasons. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember that. That's a classic.
Yeah.
He's Canadian.
Nice. Living in a better world than us.
Yeah.
So yeah, that does sound really
It's
interesting.
not hard, though.
Click to see if there's going to be a season 2.
Yes. There will be.
Sick. Okay. So
That
I
was
know it's
March
not gonna...
2023, so it was recent.
Okay, so we know it's not gonna...
If you want to add it to your list, you can. Because adding it to my list isn't going to do anything because we're not living together. So you'll have to have your own list.
Mm-hmm. I have to watch new content.
On your own.
Disgusting.
Yeah. The hard part's going to be keeping Last of Us spoilers away from you when you're so far away from me.
I don't really...
If you come across anything that looks like Last of Us, scroll away. Scroll away, scroll away. Because you never know. Because, because the game's been around for so long, spoiling it's technically not, like, how dare you? Because it's been out for years. Like, it's been out for, 2-3 years at this point. The second game has. So, seeing game spoilers makes sense. It's been out a while. You know what I mean? So, it makes sense. But also, some people don't understand the fact that people who are watching the show haven't played the games and may not even know the games exist if they're not part of the gaming world. If you didn't know me, would you know what The Last of Us was?
No.
Exactly. So, so you're like, oh, I can't believe this happened. Oh, wait till this happens. And it's like, bitch, what if I'd only watched the show? What if because I knew the spoiler for Game 2 before I played Game 2. It didn't really fully affect my playing of it, but it would affect my watching of it.
I mean, personally, I don't really mind spoilers. I watched all of Game of Thrones, having had everything spoiled for me.
Well, yeah, because
So-
you kept saying you weren't going to fucking watch it,
And
so
I
I
didn't
felt
think
free
I
spoiling
was.
it. Yeah, and then I spoiled other things, and you're like, that sounds really good. And it is really good.
Basically,
All
nothing was
7
surprising.
seasons are really good.
The only thing that was really surprising in Game of Thrones was the timing of everything.
Yes.
I knew the things that happened, I just didn't know when they were happening, so
Yes.
I was surprised because
Exactly.
they snuck up on me.
You knew
but-
about all the murders and the deaths
Yeah.
and the terrible things, but you didn't know when those murders and deaths were going to happen. Just like you knew the plane crash was going to happen in Grey's Anatomy, but you didn't know when, because I couldn't tell you when, because I didn't know when. I just knew it happened.
Yeah.
So that people died.
Watched Game of Thrones after all the big plot points had been spoiled for me, and am reading Game of Thrones after having watched the show, so I really don't care to have things spoiled for me. I mean, I just don't have overlapping people.
Yeah, you also don't tend to care about media quite as much as I do. So
No.
getting spoilers for you isn't end of the world, whereas me having the gay spoiled in Horizon Forbidden West DLC kind of ruined the DLC for me. So
See that? Yeah, that wouldn't ruin it for me. I'd be like, oh my god, I'm really excited. I'd be looking forward
imagine
to
having
it.
Shield spoiled for you. That would have sucked. It would have sucked for me. I would have fucking
Some
hated
of it would have,
Yeah.
but I mean, I think you had already talked about some of.
But we
Shield.
were watching it as it came out together, some of it.
Not as it came out. I was always lagging behind.
Were you? Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
You watched
don't
the
have
final
memories.
season by yourself, and then I watched it with you later
Oh,
because
okay.
we stopped in between the penultimate season and the final season to watch Agent Carter.
Oh, right.
Yep.
Yeah. Because the season was still airing,
Mm-hmm.
and we kind of watched them in like 2 at a time, so that makes sense. I don't remember things. You know this. My memory's terrible. It was already bad, and I think it's gotten worse since testosterone, so... Like, I genuinely think my memory's gotten worse. I do think it might also just be, like, if you don't use it, you lose it thing. And since I'm not actively having to memorize shit for school anymore, maybe that's why my memory's gotten worse, because I'm not using that part of my brain as much. So my brain's like, we don't need this. Yeet. And just is throwing out my ability to retain memories.
You also just might not be nourishing yourself enough.
That's possible. Like, eating enough? What do you mean?
Eating enough good things, getting enough vitamins and minerals
Fuck
in your
vitamins and
diet,
minerals.
hydrating enough.
I am hydrated. I don't know what you're talking about.
Like, I feel a lot more lightheaded
This is
when
a
I'm
water
dehydrated.
base, Max.
I have a lot more trouble with work, with concentration, with memory, with a lot of things if I'm dehydrated and not taking care of myself.
I mean, my sleep schedule is bizarre, so... Especially this week.
That could also be a problem.
This week and next week's sleep schedules are fucked in the ass.
Yeah.
So
it might be some use it or lose it, but I do think some of your lifestyle is probably contributing.
probably. I do sleep during the day and am awake at night, which tends to throw people's bodies off anyways. So that could be contributing.
Is it office? 1 second.
It's not considered hydrating if it's not beer or liquor based.
I beg to differ.
Jarek, are you drunk right now? Do you have a beer in your hand at this very moment? Huh?
Eric, what continent are you on?
He's in Europe.
He's in
He's
Europe?
in Germany
Okay.
still, right? I don't think he's moved. Nope, no beer right now.
Okay. Or
He's-
nope, no
You're
Europe.
sober? You're sober right now? I think it's the first time you've been to my stream sober in a minute. You're not here very often though, so it's not like you're here every single day. So it's not as wide of a span as if like Jimmy showed up here every single day drunk. That'd be something to be concerned about. Although he is British and it's different. It's different for the British. You know?
Still Germany, different apartment. Cool.
Yes. He hadn't said he'd left Germany yet, so I assumed he was still there.
Man, I'd want to go back to Germany. That'd be so cool.
So we're gonna we're gonna start with Pacific Rim and then try to watch John Wick after if there's time.
Sure. Or we could do it the other way around and then change our minds and watch John Wick Chapter 2 instead of Pacific Rim.
Fully up to you. It's your birthday, so
I think John Wick first, and then I'll have the perspective of which film I want to watch next.
okay. And then I can just watch Pacific Rim by myself after you go to bed.
That's true. I mean, I would still like to watch it.
Yeah, I'm gonna come in here tonight and take all the little posters off my wall, and hopefully not rip any of the wall off.
That would be very sad.
I'm gonna leave the big ones up until closer to move because I'm gonna put them in the flattening thing. So I'm gonna leave them up where they're safe and not gonna be damaged by me moving other shit around. But all the little ones will come out and I'll put in like a paper box or something in a banker's box.
I've got frames for most of my posters, and the ones that I don't, I can just stick inside of the frames for the other ones, and they'll stay safe.
Yeah. I was over those couple of times during the DLC. You just streamed so late. I was 90% sleeping, so basically drunk anyways because you were so sleepy.
He'd be drunk.
Yes. All right, we got a couple. This is from the subreddit Best of Redditor Updates, which pulls from a lot of different subreddits, and it pulls good updates that are like crazy. So try not to read ahead because I will be reading aloud.
So does that mean I should not look at the screen because
I'm
I
doing
always read
because they
ahead?
have updates separate, so I do my best to like leave the update off the screen. Imagine moving to every couple of years. Couldn't relate. Max can.
Yeah,
That was Max's childhood
it was.
for a while until you got to E-Town.
Yes, and then we stayed there for...
A long time.
I was in E-Town for like 7-8 years, and then I went to college, so... And I have never looked back.
Me neither.
Dear God. All the pictures of, like, my high school friends with, like, babies and wives and husbands and whatever. Disgusting.
Horrible.
Would not want to live that life. None of them are out. Some of them should be out by now, but, like, they still live there, so...
Max was using to read ahead to edit stuff, intensifies. Yeah.
I just got done editing.
Max just reads faster than me, like like 3, 4, 5 times faster than I do, especially if I'm reading aloud. I'm even slower when I read aloud. Obviously, I can't, talk as fast as my brain processes things. So when I'm trying to like show Max something or read something to Max, I will purposefully turn away from them so they can't read over my shoulder, because they will. Because you just like look at a screen and your brain takes in most of the information. You don't even have to try to read it.
Most people read multiple words at a time. I probably read like 5 or 6, which is pretty normal. So
I read one at a time.
But that's the thing, like when you're reading out loud particularly, you have to read
one at a time.
One at a time, so it's much slower.
Yes.
Yeah.
I probably read like 2 or 3 at a time when I'm not reading aloud, depending on what I'm reading.
Yeah. It does definitely depend on what you're reading. Like when I started reading the
B-Play,
Warhammer book.
that's not happening.
Yeah. Like Peyton recommended that Warhammer book to me. I started reading it on Saturday, and I cannot read multiple words at a time, because like every 5th word is some like
made
niche
up word
term made up for the universe, and so I really can't. I'll eventually get there, but it's thick with unique words. Okay, so am I gonna have to look at the posters on the wall where you read?
I mean, I'm gonna keep the updates off screen because that's what I've been doing, so it doesn't, because that's usually where the twists are in the updates.
It's from relationship advice. Okay.
Yes, this is from r/relationship advice. So some good shit. We're gonna get some good shit. Probably gonna need our red flags. Hold on. I gotta get the red flags, Max.
Oh no, I'm reading it. Okay.
Where are the red flags? I got them. Here you go. You get some red flags. I get some red flags.
Maybe I should put on my sleep mask so I don't read ahead.
No, you look stupid. Please don't do that. Can you imagine? You're in the frame over there with the sleep mask on, blindfolded, and I'm just sitting here.
Well, you would have to take me off screen.
You can read. You can also listen as well, because I'll be speaking.
Okay, but I can't not read ahead if I'm listening.
Yes.
It's not possible.
I know. No. None of that.
No,
None
terrible,
of that.
Jarek. Terrible.
He even badumped in the chat. That was funny. All right. My boyfriend, 26 male, found out that I, 26 female, am rich and started using it against me. October 5th, 2021. My boyfriend and I met through a dating app 8 months ago, and we've had a good steady relationship. It was a stealthy relationship. I come from a well-off family, but my parents never spoiled me. They taught me to not indulge in excess and to keep my privilege in mind when interacting with people. I'm currently living in an apartment with only my salary. I haven't told my boyfriend about my wealth. I wasn't actively hiding it. It just didn't come up. I feel like I've seen this story somewhere, but I've definitely not read the updates.
How have you not talked about your childhood? How long have you been dating? 8
months. Yeah.
How have you not talked about your childhood at all?
Well, it's possible
it's
to see come up.
It's never come up?
Yeah. I mean, I grew up well off. I don't know how well off this person is. Like, this person could be, like, wealthy. I mean, she says rich, and as we've discussed, I wouldn't classify my upbringing as rich. We were well off.
Yeah, but, like...
When I think rich, I think, like, oh, you make millions of dollars a year. That's where my brain goes.
Yeah, but, like, when you talked about your childhood, it was very obvious to me that your family made more money than my family did. So, I don't understand how this hasn't come up.
It's possible that it's clear her family makes more money than his, but not to the degree that they do. It's possible that that's what's happening here. Because she said that they raised her... They didn't... And they never spoiled her. She said that they never spoiled her. So it's possible the family is crazy wealthy, but they didn't, like, buy her everything under the sun. Maybe they just took a lot of vacations or something. You know, because vacations can be expensive. You can spend quite a bit of money on a vacation instead of buying, like, giant, like... gifts for every single event. You get a new iPad every Saturday or shit like that. You know.
I personally take issue with the idea that rich people could ever say that they weren't spoiled when they grew up, because the fact
there's a difference
that
between being spoiled and being like able to live a fun life, huh?
But
there's
like,
a difference.
To me, being spoiled is giving your child things that another child might not get on occasions that they would not get them because you are rich and you have the money to do so.
To me, spoiled means you're getting shit you don't need.
Right.
All the time.
Right.
Instead of, like, occasionally getting shit you don't need for, like, a gift. Because, like, no one needs an iPad. You know what I mean? No kid needs an iPad. But you might get one for a birthday because it's a gift. It's a fun extra thing that you might sometimes get. Now, if you always get gifts like that, then I think you're spoiled. I think if you get a gift that big for every holiday, you're spoiled. Whereas like my sister and I had iPads growing up. We got refurbished iPads. I paid for my refurbished iPad, I should add. I think my sister did too. But we had them. My mom helped pay for it, but I paid for most of it myself. And so we had that. Like, we definitely were given gifts, but not for every single, it wasn't big, expensive shit for every single event that could exist. Because, like, I know some kids that grew up getting shit for, like, Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Like, their parents would give them, like, a pony for Memorial Day. And I was like, Memorial Day? Really?
Whereas I didn't get any electronics until I was in high school.
Yeah.
Most of the time I got electronics that were old hand-me-downs from friends, other things like that, because we just couldn't afford the expensive stuff. The light version of whatever it is, or the small version of whatever it is. Like,
which works for you, because you have small hands.
I do, but when I got electronics, it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah,
you know.
I definitely grew up more privileged than you, but also your parents had 4 kids for a lot of the time that you were growing up, whereas mine only had 4 kids for the first couple years of my life, and then Brooks moved out and Logan moved out, and so that was just the 2 of us. So
same income, stretched not
nearly
over the same
as
number of
wide.
people.
Yes,
Yeah.
because there's not as big of a gap between your siblings and my siblings. So
But I mean, personally,
that helps a lot. Not having 4 kids at once in the house saves a lot of money. So.
Personally, though, to me, the idea of dating someone for 8 months and never talking about your childhood to the extent that they would understand that you that your parents made a considerable amount of money, that says to me that there's no way that hasn't come up. It means that that person has lied by omission.
Well,
there are always circumstances
this
where
person
they
said it didn't come up.
I don't trust that.
It's a red flag for you.
I don't trust that.
I don't see it as a red flag because, like she said, her parents never spoiled her and told her not to indulge in excess. And she's currently only living off her own salary. She's not living off her parents' dime right now, which is good. If I was a rich parent, I would also prefer my child, once they're old enough, live off their own money instead of mine. And I can help them with, like, big expenses, like if their car breaks down or they have a medical emergency, things that most people can't afford anyways, assuming I was well off, that would be really nice. But that's a pipe dream, but one can hope. Maybe I'll find a wealthy woman who falls in love with me, fingers crossed.
Wait, I thought talking about childhood trauma is supposed to be during the flirting stage. Oh, absolutely. You need to know.
That's first date stuff.
Like, to me,
extreme trauma, that's date 1.
It is very attractive when someone else has similar experiences to you. So if someone, to me, brings up trauma in the first little bit, that's hot.
You're broken too? Oh my god, me too.
Oh my god.
Because if you don't have a little bit of childhood trauma, I don't trust you.
No, I don't trust.
I don't trust you.
You've buried it. No one does. No one doesn't have childhood trauma.
I act like I don't have a traumatic childhood because I honestly really don't. But I still grew up with ADHD from day 1. Like, very obvious ADHD.
Your parents punished you for your mental illness.
Yes, but that's it. That's the only one. Although I did get spanked a lot for reasons I couldn't always explain, so do with that what you will. But
I think that's pretty normal, though.
Yeah, especially for our generation.
Yeah, that's pretty normal. Gen Z and millennials grew up like that.
And we're zillennials, so we fall into that category. Like that TikTok we saw where where the girl was like, my mom can't yell, and the friend was like, so who yelled at you? And she was like, I didn't get yelled at as a kid. And the friend was like, what the fuck do you mean you didn't get yelled at as a child? What the hell? Like, I thought you were a millennial. What the fuck is this? Being spoiled is me renting a nice-ass car instead of fixing the windshield of my actual car in order to pass German inspection for registration.
Yeah, if your parents paid for you to rent a nice car, then I see that. I definitely see that.
Yeah, like if my parents had outright bought me a car, that would be different.
A newer car than the car that you got?
Yeah, if they had outright bought me a car that was like 3 years old and paid for the whole thing, that would have been crazy. That would have been spoiled. I think that's spoiled to just straight buy your kids a car, like, and not have them pay for any of it. Like, it can be a brand new car that you help them pay for. That's fine. But just fully, hands down, paying for the whole thing for them feels spoiled to me, even if you're crazy wealthy. If you're crazy wealthy, that just means you split the money on a newer car. If you're not crazy wealthy, you split the money on a not newer car, like my family did. Like, my grandparents helped pay for the car, and my parents chipped in, and I paid for, I think, about half of it over a period of time.
But we both got decade-old cars.
And at this point, I've made up for the money that I didn't originally pay for the car in the past year. Wait, I'm not supposed to enjoy spanking? Not as a child. No, not as a child. You can as an adult, though. No, being beat by your parents isn't really something you're supposed to enjoy. So
supposedly that leads to
it can lead to some kinkiness, but not if you're me. So it led to the opposite in me, the lack of kinkiness. The complete lack.
That made you asexual is what you're saying?
Yeah. I don't get why we get on so well. Grew up with a completely different family environment. I don't know either, but we are stupidly similar. I don't know why. Getting a new car is not very money savvy. No, it isn't. I look forward to being able to get a new one, though. I don't expect to get one anytime soon. I was talking to Jennifer last night at work because she picked up last night's shift as well. So it was really just the two of us from the original shift. So we were hanging out on break and chatting. And she was like, her husband hasn't had a job, or her partner, whoever, hasn't had a job for a minute for reasons that aren't that big of a deal. But she's like, oh, once he gets a job, I'll be able to finally, because her car that she drives currently was already sold to her like mother-in-law or mother or something, but she hasn't been able to give it to her yet because she needs to drive it, and so once the husband gets a job, she can finally save for a car so she can give the car she currently has, and it's already been paid for by the person she's giving it to the person that paid for it, and get herself a new car. And I was like, that's cool. I'm hoping to make my 2006 vehicle with 170 plus thousand miles on it last another decade. So as long as it doesn't break down, if it gets me from point A to point B, that's all that matters. It can break down in the middle as long as it turns back on and gets me to where I need to go.
My goal is to get a car 5 years or fewer older when I pay off my student loans. That will be my present.
Because I've decided my next car will be a Ford Bronco.
Because, like, if I'm used to paying off student loans, replacing that payment with a car payment is not... I feel like that's reasonable.
At least cars aren't that expensive here, so I know that I can afford a new one if needed. That's true. They are cheaper over there.
For sure they're cheaper. I probably wouldn't be able to afford... I mean, monthly payments are a thing, but I probably
car was
wouldn't
5
be able
years old
to.
when I bought it 10 years ago.
Yeah, no, my car was 11 years old when I got it, and it's now...
Mine was 10 years old when I got it. I got it in 2016 or 2017, so...
It's 16 years old now, so... She's trucking along. Toyota Camrys are reliable.
Yeah. They are.
Except for replacing the alternator. But otherwise...
Yeah.
Very reliable.
That's like the only thing you've had to replace in it, though. Right? Other than, like, obviously, like, normal things like wiper blades.
Yeah, and that weird thing that happened with the aux port, but otherwise I think just like the normal stuff.
Oh, where the fuse blew?
Yeah. So they had to do the fuse thing, but like otherwise just like windshield wipers, tires,
fuse
stuff
blows,
like that.
Fuses blow, that happens.
I think I replaced a battery, but that's also pretty normal.
Yeah, especially for a car as old as yours. Yeah.
So the alternator was really
the only out of the ordinary
like,
thing. Yeah.
Which was annoying because it was like $700.
And my doubts, but it was just that the ignition cable needed adjusting. When I went to pick up my car last time from Midas, I went to get in it and I wouldn't unlock, and I opened the car door and it was beeping as if the key had been left in the ignition, because sometimes when I take my car out of the ignition, it doesn't register that I have, so I have to like tap where the key goes and it'll move the thing back into place, and they just hadn't noticed when they went to get out of the car, which happens. I've done that too, where I don't notice until I try to lock it that it's not locking, because if you're not used to the way my car locks, it's going to be hard to tell that it's not locked all the way, because you may not know that it's supposed to beep when you press the lock button, because you had to press it a couple times before it will beep at you saying it's locked. So I just thought that was funny. I was like, it's not unlocking. Weird. And so I opened the door and I hear it going ding, 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 ding. I'm like, oh, whack. And then it went back to normal. So.
Like that car we saw on TikTok where they like turned the car on, fully took the key out, and it was still running.
Yeah. Except mine doesn't run. It just thinks the key's still like in the ignition, just not on. It just thinks it's just been inserted. Yeah. I didn't have the ding. I had the same issue. That's the same issue I had. I just don't have the ding. Yeah. I think my car's repair bill, windshield plus new battery, was like 950 euros without tax.
I didn't know windshield repairs were that expensive.
Yeah, especially if it's a bad break. Oh, it wasn't setting the key to correctly to start. Yeah, mine just the because it's not a sensor that notices that my key's out of the ignition. It's like an actual physical thing that gets moved when I put the key in, and that doesn't always reset itself when I pull the key out. It doesn't happen often, but I have to be wary of that when I go to get out. But like I said, I notice when I try to lock it and it doesn't. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, true. Yeah, you're in the EU and you've got an American car, so that would up the prices
that
as
makes
well.
Sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I want a Ford Bronco. I'll probably buy one that's like new this year, 10 years from now.
Sorry, I was thinking about the Ford trucks that we were looking at yesterday. What was that?
Ford fucking...
Ranger.
Ranger, yes. The
Ford fucking Ranger. Yeah,
the Ford Ranger, which will haul whatever the
fuck
it feels
like. Towing
yachts
and shit.
It will haul whatever the hell it feels like.
If I ever had a desire to haul things, I would for sure get a Ford Ranger. But I don't particularly. I just want an SUV. Just like a little SUV.
Yeah, that's why I like the Bronco.
5-seater, big hatchback.
It's nice and boxy.
Yeah. I want a big, proper, like, back where I can put stuff in instead of the, like, little trunks you have in the, compact cars.
I can't get over this. This is one of the TikToks.
Can they hear it?
So you might be big and shit, but you ain't no fucking Ford fucking Ranger. Ford Ranger. I know this truck. I know Ranger. I know that truck. That's a Ford fucking Ranger. Fucking Ranger.
It has no business. It has no business doing that.
And there was at least one. There's a car on it too.
Yes, and it's hooked up to something else.
Insane.
This one's good too. I'm not playing the audio this time. It gets annoying after a little while. It's just going and going and going. It's just going. That engine's not giving out. This one's funny. That would body most vehicles. Most vehicles would be totaled from that.
But it's fine.
The Ranger's like, let's go. We got places to be. Oh, yeah, and then this one.
Mm-hmm. I'm not a super huge fan of American cars.
Is a Toyota Helix like that too?
I do love a good Toyota, so I'd probably get whatever Toyota SUVs are quite good. But, I mean, I'm really just looking for an SUV that seats 5, that's a decent price, that's 5 years old or newer. I'm easy to please.
Yeah. It looks pretty much the same as the Ford Ranger, yeah. Just Toyota's version.
I never think about,
we always have to finance the war on terrorism. It's America.
I never think about pickups from, like, any brand that's not, like, an American brand. You know, there's, like, Ford and Dodge and stuff like that. God, Broncos are so fucking ugly.
No, they're not. Look how pretty she is. They're prettier in person, I promise. Look at this. Look at the classic.
That one's cute, but they're just so boxy.
I love it.
I don't love that. I don't love the aesthetic.
I love the box.
I also don't like Jeeps, though, and those are pretty boxy as well.
Yeah, I like the boxiness, so... I've driven past so many in the past few weeks that are so pretty, because they come in these, like, matte green, matte blue, like these, not, like, blue, green, but, like, slightly off what you would typically see on an assembly line, in a nice, like, light matte-ish color, that looks really nice, especially up close. Like, this in picture looks like ass, but in person, the color looks so much cooler.
The old, like, classic Ford Broncos
like
are
these?
cool looking, but I do not like the new Ford Broncos.
I like all of them. They're pretty. And there's no telling what they'll look like in a decade, so they could look like ass in a decade. Who knows? But this is a 66 to 77 Ford Bronco. That's how old this Bronco is. The 60s and 70s. That's what that one is. So, there's no telling what the fuck is this. Holy ass.
That is so weird.
That looks weird. It looks like a spider car. EU Max's alert tone is triggering Korea vibes.
Korea vibes, is it? Why does this
And
make
Nico,
you...
your car's dinging. No, that's Max's phone.
Did I give you a flashback to Korea?
Is that your eat a snack alarm? Because you're usually still at work right now. Or is that your go wake up Nico alarm?
No, I have an alarm at 1 to eat lunch, and then I have an alarm at 3 to actually eat lunch.
Because as we are aware, my my desired car from childhood was a Ford Mustang, not Ford Must.
Or must.
Ford Must. But these are impractical.
Yes.
Not to mention stupid expensive. They're still so pretty. I love them. They're
I
gorgeous.
hate cars that are so, like,
She's so
low
pretty.
to the ground.
She's gorgeous. I love her, and she's amazing. The John Wick 1 car, I would die for her. But
Like, all those cars you see that are so low to the ground, what the fuck happens when you go over a speed bump?
you don't. You go over it very slowly and pray. Whereas, like, I drive over, like, 8 million speed bumps a day, especially because there's speed bumps here, and then there's speed bumps in my parking lot at work. A bunch of them. Because it's a massive parking lot. So there's a lot of places to put speed bumps. So, but I have a car that's not low to the ground, so I just go right over those hoes and hope for the best. So, I just go, boom, 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 boom. I just go right over them real quick.
Do most SUVs have four-wheel drive?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna need that.
A lot of them do. A
Yeah.
lot of the newer ones do. You just have to, like, mine doesn't always drive in four-wheel. I can switch into four-wheel, which I think is more common in the newer models of cars, is that most of them will have like it'll automatically switch into four-wheel when it notices you're like sliding or something. A lot of the newer ones are smarter than the old cars, allegedly. So an Aston Martin makes sense. Yeah. I passed a Bronco, and during the time where I was trying to figure out if my car could haul anything, and Broncos have a higher haul rating than my shitty ass old ass Kia, and it's rusted hitch. But it also has a lot of storage space in the back, like my current vehicle does. I find it very pretty. I've always wanted one of the boxier cars. When we were shopping for my current car, we found one that was kind of Jeep-esque. It wasn't a Jeep, but it looked very Jeepish, and I really fucking loved it. It had no road noise. It was gorgeous, but the check engine light was on, and so we got that checked out to see if it was something big, and it was very big. It was going to cost more to fix the engine than it was to buy the car. Because it was actually the engine that was fucked up. It wasn't just some part of it. Russian cars. Are Russian cars boxy?
What's the type of car that they have in like the classic like British cab? I know Xana had one of those, but they weren't making them in the U.S. anymore, so they don't have any new ones anymore.
I don't know what you're talking about. So I
Like
can't
the
help you.
particular car that they use for like cabs in like
Oh,
the UK.
yes, cabs.
Yeah,
Okay.
cabs.
Yeah. I don't know.
You should Google it. I liked those cars. They were very cute.
The Marauder car. Oh, this.
Uh-huh.
It's so ugly.
Super cute.
It's so ugly.
I think they're adorable.
It looks very British.
What?
You would never see this driving around in the USA.
What type of car is
Because
this?
of the giant vent on the front.
Well, there are older models that they used to use. Those are the new ones because they did discontinue the car that used to be used for cabs, I believe. So, if I'm thinking of the correct model, these are newer models.
Oh, yeah, you gotta slap a Union Jack on there.
I wish I could remember what car it was.
I don't know what Mr. Bean's car looks like.
Burbean's car.
Burbean's.
Burbean's.
It pulled it up.
Oh, those are cute.
It's the
that a
ugliest
mini
color.
cube? It's cute. Yeah, I hate the color,
It's a
but I
Fiat.
love those like
No, it is a mini.
yeah, I like Mini Coupes.
It's so ugly and so little.
They can be very impractical though.
What the fuck is this?
Like a
Just
Mini
tri-wheel
Coupe-
nonsense. Huh?
Are Mini Coupes all two-seaters? Because any two-seater
probably
car
not.
is just completely impractical.
They're probably not anymore.
Okay.
I love how we got sidetracked.
Yeah, no, we're just talking about cars and we're supposed to talk about the subreddit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Let's get back to that. What are you doing? No, don't fall down the rabbit hole. Guys, why'd you do this? Why do we do this to ourselves?
No, I'm trying to find the car that I was thinking of because we didn't find the specific car that I'm thinking of.
I'm
Is
sure
it a
there's still current
Volkswagen
variants of
car?
minis that are two-seaters, but I know they make them with 4 seats now.
Is it a
Off-task is so much
Volkswagen?
more fun. I mean, yeah, it's gonna happen. It's kind of like how my streams work. If we're not off task, am I even streaming? I didn't realize how short Silent Hill 2 and The Suffering were until I looked it up the other day. I thought they'd be like closer to 20 hours. I didn't expect them to be like 40 or 50 hours like Red Dead 2 or anything, but I didn't expect them to be 11 hours long. I didn't expect them to be so short. But, you know, I'm trying to figure out if I'm able to stream next Wednesday once I'm in Omaha. I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna do that day. I might stream Silent Hill, just Silent Hill that day, and then start Zelda the next week, and sort of intersperse. Since those older games are so short, we'll probably get through them fairly quickly, especially if we're doing like half days, where we do like new game in the front half, old game in the back half. Which I'm actually really looking forward to. And I genuinely do think I'll eventually be able to make a stream schedule once I'm there for about a month or so and I understand how often they send out extra shifts and stuff like that. I might actually be able to do like a stream schedule. Like at this time on this day, we'll be streaming this. And then at this time on that day, we'll be changing to this. You know, things like that. And then obviously those will change on the day because I'm me. But like I'll actually have like a plan to a degree. That mainly is the reason why I never brought Red Dead 2, is because it's so long. Yeah. It is incredibly long. Especially if you're trying to do all the side quests and explore the whole map and everything. You can easily spend 100 hours in Red Dead before you beat it, so. What are you doing?
I can't find the specific card that I'm thinking of. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. I might have to continue this quest later so we can actually read the subreddit. What? Oh, because I'm really small now?
No, look what I did.
Sorry, I'm really big and you're really small now.
Because I realized when I was looking over at you, I was looking just off into the distance, so it looks funny because I'm really little. I never finished GTA 5, but that's because mainly I got spoiled with different endings. Yeah, I never finished it either. I just stopped being interested in it. So. There we go.
Oh, perfect. Now we're the same size. I'm red again.
And now we can look at each other.
Yes, now we can look at each other.
It's just gotten darker in here. That's what it is.
Yeah, I do think that's probably the
sun's
problem.
gradually going down. I'm gonna have to. I've got that blackout shit over here. The blackout sheet that I bought forever ago. I never used. And I think it's actually going to come in handy in the new apartment because I've realized that based on the layout I want to do, the windows that I do have in my apartment are going to glare right onto my TV and my monitors and stuff during the daytime. So if I want to like watch a movie while the sun's still up, I'll have to like cover the windows because I don't know how glaring it'll be because there are blinds on the windows like the one in here. So it may diffuse the light enough that it's not an issue. But you know how I am with like TV quality and stuff like that. So, you know. At least with open world, you can decide if you want to do the bare minimum or go off task. Yes, which is why I like them because I do like to get off task. So, and it's kind of encouraged to get off task when you play an open world game. So, so what we could do is, since I need to cut your hair, we can pre-order the chilies online, and then while you shower after I cut your hair, I can go over there and pick it up.
PT Cruiser. That's the car that I'm thinking of.
Did you
I really wanted a PT Cruiser. No. I'm sorry.
I should know better than to talk to Max when Max is researching. I should have figured this out by now, and I have. I just forget.
They're not making them anymore because Chrysler went out of business.
Ah, did they?
Yep. That's what I was thinking of because the newest model of PT Cruiser that they have, I think they just vaguely look like the cars for British cabs. Because I think Chrysler's in America.
There's a place here called Chili's, Jimmy. I don't know if they even serve chili. I'm sure they do. But they serve pretty much everything there.
Well, it's named after the fruit, not the dish. So.
Yes, true. It's named
Yeah.
after the like a pepper, like a chili
Yeah.
pepper. But yeah, they serve everything there pretty much. It's like a sit down restaurant where they serve pretty much everything: burgers, chicken. I think they even serve fish and like salmon and stuff. So, you know, fruit. Yes, it is. It's a fruit. The pepper.
I'm so satisfied that I finally found it.
I love Jarek being happy that he finished Days Gone when I played it for like half a stream, and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yep, Chrysler went out of business in the Great Recession of 2008.
Oh, is there? There's a Chili's over there?
Interesting.
I didn't realize it was international. It
It
must
just
be like
feels-
rare overseas.
It feels very American.
Yes, it is very quintessential American. Because it's like you want everything to eat? Come to Chili's, you know?
Wait.
It's like a buffet, but not.
Yeah, but they sometimes have restaurants like that at military bases, though. Like, they'll have random
That's
American
true.
restaurants.
That's true.
To
And
make
I know,
people
like,
feel at home.
I know in Japan they have, like, USA restaurants where it's like, eat USA food here, you know? Like, you want to eat some fat, greasy shit that'll make you die of heart disease? Come here, you know? Like, you want to feel like you're at home? Come eat this greasy food.
Yeah.
Because Japanese food is not even close to our level of grease. And they're much healthier over there.
If there's an American sports bar type restaurant, then it's in another country, it's probably on post.
Yes, we know you're a simp for Sam Witwer. It's okay. I feel that. I am a simp for many people. Sam Witwer just is not on that list. So there was both a Texas Roadhouse and a Chili's at one army base in Korea.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Texas Roadhouse rolls slap. I wish we could get Texas Roadhouse rolls and then go to Chili's.
Or go to Red Lobster and get rolls.
Just do like a sampling of rolls around town, and then just bring
And then
those
go
back.
to a what's it called? The one we went to in Bowling Green.
Cane's
Thank you. My brain kept wanting to say Clucks and Fries, and that's not the name of the restaurant. That's an order.
from a different restaurant.
Yes, from a different restaurant. Or get some toast from there, and some bread from Red Lobster, and we just have our dinner would just be a sampling of breads from different restaurants.
Love bread,
Do a fast food crawl instead of a pub crawl. Yep, America.
but specifically a bread crawl.
Yes.
Yes. With beer also, because yeast. But you don't like beer.
No.
You've
fuck
never had a beer.
I don't like alcohol.
But you never had a beer.
But beer is notoriously gross.
But you're an American man. You have to have a beer.
That's not true. I don't subscribe to gender norms. None of that.
Or you're an American trans person and you have to have
Bud
which
Light.
one was it? Bud Light? Yeah.
But it doesn't have Dylan's
Gotta
face on
support
it, so
trans
why would I
rights
buy
though.
it?
But you have to support trans rights.
Fuck that shit. Why would I support trans rights? No one else fucking does. Why would I bother?
But you have to.
It's too much effort. I support trans wrongs. I love that meme. I love that meme so much.
Support women's wrongs.
I support women's rights and women's wrongs. Speaking of women's wrongs, should we get back to the Reddit post?
Yes.
All right. Beer is the worst. Cocktails and fruit flavored cider is best.
Agree. Hard agree. Taryn and I made mojitos for my birthday, and they were delicious.
Still probably tasted like alcohol though. Disgusting.
No, not really.
I would be able to taste it.
I mean, like a little, but like the alcohol that goes into a mojito is fairly mild, I would say. She probably also makes them a little bit lighter.
Yeah. Alrighty. I wasn't actively hiding it. It just didn't come up. My birthday was a few weeks ago, and my parents threw a party at our home. Our home is a medium-sized villa. Okay, you're rich. You called it a villa.
Yep.
My boyfriend started scowling when I told him that this was the home I grew up in. When I asked him about it, he told me it was nothing and started smiling again. His mood got worse as more and more of my parents' rich friends started coming in. When I asked him about it the next day, he just told me that he was feeling a little sick. After we got back, he asked me why he hid the fact that I was rich. I told him that I wasn't hiding it, but he started bringing it up every conversation after that, like telling me that I didn't know how to cook properly because I was spoiled. He brought it up with his friends, telling them I was a spoiled princess who had everything handed to me. It started as jokes, but it got more hostile as the days went on. When I brought this up, he told me I didn't know normal people problems because I was rich. Did I do something wrong? What should I do? Well, I disagree that we don't know her. Maybe she doesn't understand normal people problems, but she
Maybe.
is living in an apartment on her own salary right now.
I still think it's important to be transparent about these kind of things.
Yes, but ignoring the fact that she kept it from him just going out and saying, you know what it's like, when she's literally living on her own dime right now.
But living on your own dime right now doesn't negate the fact that you did not live on your own dime, did not struggle, did not go without.
You shouldn't have to as a child. That's the point. As a child,
Right.
you shouldn't have to struggle and live on your own dime. That's the fucking point. But then she, I assume, probably went to college because she's wealthy, and then got an apartment and pays for it by herself. Like, that's normal people think. She may not live paycheck to paycheck because she grew up rich, so it's possible she got a better job out the gate, but she's still living on her own, paying for her own thing. Just because she has you are going to be paying for your own thing, just like I'm going to be paying for my own thing, but you're
Yeah.
going to be better off because you make more money than I do.
Right.
So you're not going to have as big of a struggle paying for your own apartment as I will, simply because you make more money. So it's possible that that's a situation here, but to just assume she doesn't understand what it's like to be poor, not knowing her, of course. I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt here because
Yeah.
she is the OP.
I think we need more context, but also I think that...
Because for all we know, she's a huge bitch. Like, we have no idea. We have no way to
Right.
tell. She's the one who posted this, so she could be framing it completely in her own favor. So, well, we may find out some information in the update that gives us more to go off of.
I think...
What did the chat say? I've never tasted alcohol in a mojito on a Friday night. The next thing you know, it's Monday morning. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got to be careful with those mojitos.
Yeah. It all depends on the circumstances. She could easily be clueless. Exactly. She could be paying for the place on her own, but still have family spending money. Yes. She said she lives on... I'm living in an apartment with my own salary. Yeah, but it is possible that she still has, like, a allowance she can pull from for vacations or something. It's very possible, but it's also I do know people who grew up really wealthy, like way wealthier than me, whose parents don't really help them with anything but emergencies at this point. Not because they were kicked out or anything, but just because they want their kid to make their own life. Which is absolutely understandable.
If you are the boyfriend and you, like me, have grown up hearing your parents talk about money all the time, talk about how they struggle with different things because of money, talk about their credit card
and then
debts
you go to
and their
your
loan
partner's
debts.
villa, your partner's parents' villa. She called it a villa. That's
And
like
have
calling
your
it an
partner-
estate.
And then have your partner say, oh, I grew up rich, but it doesn't have any bearing on my life, so why would you call me spoiled or well off?
Even if she doesn't think she was spoiled, she will still look spoiled to those who grew up poor.
Right.
Even if she actually wasn't like crazy rich spoiled, other people are still going to look at her growing up well off and see her as spoiled. Like, people look at my life as spoiled, which I don't think I was. I definitely think I was spoiled at certain times of my life, but I don't think I was spoiled my entire childhood. I definitely grew up wealthier than a lot of people because I grew up with 2 working parents my whole life, which is already going to put you ahead of the game. So, since most people only have 1 parent, so not to mention 1 working parent if they have 2 parents.
And your parents had 3 sources of income because your dad got retirement checks.
Exactly. So I definitely grew up in a different situation than a lot of people, and I always try to remember that. But I didn't grow up in a fucking villa. What the fuck? You called your childhood home a villa? That's some rich shit right there.
If this was Am I the Asshole? She's the asshole.
Yeah.
I just don't understand how that never comes up. In 8 months, that never comes up.
Yeah. Like, your parents, where you grew up, didn't ever come up?
Absolutely no way this didn't come up.
Yeah. That's the bit I'm having trouble thinking about.
Okay.
But
Update
time. So 2 days later. All right. This is the only update. After I made the Reddit post, I tried to have a conversation with him, but he kept stonewalling me. He made more snide comments, and I decided to break up. When I told him that I was leaving him, it felt like he was expecting it. He called me a rich bitch and went on a rant about how I was leaving him because he was poor. Some commenters told me to expect this, but it still came as a shock. He and I have very good salaries, and I don't know why he said that. He was a good person most of the time. I knew him. Okay, she didn't break up with you because you're poor. She broke up with you because she started being a cunt about her being rich. There's a difference.
Yeah.
Especially since she says he makes good money. Mm-hmm. He and I have good salaries. So you're not a broke bitch. That's not why she's breaking up with you because you're being a cunt. Like, that's, know, I see you reading ahead.
I'm sorry. I just don't like what she says in the next paragraph.
Some people ask me why I didn't warn him about my wealth. All my relationships before him were with people in my social class, so the expectation of wealth was implicit. Having wealth was not as a big deal in any of my previous relationships, so I assumed it was the same in this one too. I'll warn my partners before taking them home in my future relationships. What's wrong with that?
I just don't understand. Like, I love her talking about people in her social class, which
Well, yeah,
means clearly she's very aware that she and her partner were in different social classes, and somehow she didn't think it was important to bring that up. I don't understand how that's not important.
Well, rich culture is very much about being rich. Like,
Right.
rich people dating other rich people is common, and if you're not rich enough, a lot of rich people won't date you. So it being a more common topic amongst her wealthy relatives or wealthy friends or wealthy partners makes sense, because that's very much a rich people thing, is that like, oh, you're poor, you know,
But
whereas
again-
like clearly she doesn't think that way. She doesn't think, ooh, poor people gross, because she's dating someone who's not in the same social class as what she would have grown up in or what she might classify herself as, and just assumed it wouldn't matter because she doesn't care what her partner makes.
I just don't understand why you would assume that.
People
I
are
don't
dumb.
get it.
People are stupid. She's only 26, so
Yeah.
you're kind of stupid until you hit your 30s, so
Yeah.
yeah. All right. This is a tangent, but I wanted to talk about I'm not rich, my parents are thing that many comments suggested. A lot of my friends from wealthy families use that line as a defense, but it is misleading. If I wanted to, I could dip into my parents' finances. I choose not to, but it is still my wealth too. It might technically be my parents' money, but it still makes me wealthy, and having wealthy parents comes with a lot of privileges even if I don't actively use their money. I never had to work a job when I was studying. I had access to the best schooling. I don't have student loans, and my parents' connections open a lot of doors. Having a safety net let me find what I was good at and let me take risks, so unless they are estranged from their families, children from wealthy families are also wealthy. See, this person is self-aware. That's why I was giving her the benefit of the doubt, because I was getting the vibe that she's self-aware of her wealth.
But if she's self-aware, why isn't she transparent?
Maybe because she feels like she doesn't need to be.
Which is
that's
not self-aware enough.
No. I feel like bringing it up, like, let's say she was dating this guy for like 2 years or something and he didn't know because it wasn't really relevant, or he did know but didn't know how rich, you know, and then something terrible happens where she has to dip into her parents' finances, and then she can let him know. Like, where it's relevant that she's dipping into a massive sum of money. Like, let's say there's some horrific tragic accident, or he totals his car, and so she goes and buys him a new car with her parents' money, because he needs a car to get to work, and they you know, or they shared a car or whatever, you know, and then she'd be like, yeah, my parents bought this for us, and then that could be a conversation you could have once it's relevant. But if she's not dipping into her parents' money, the only way her wealth really affects her is that she had more access to like things. She had more access growing up to better education, better things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, she says she chooses not to dip into her parents' money, even though they would let her if she wanted to. But she doesn't clearly need to, because she got a good job, because she got a good school, and she has no student loans. So, you know.
Maybe it's just me thinking that I would never ever date this kind of person. I don't know. I don't like rich people, particularly when they're not self-aware. If they're like self-aware and like nice to the poors, then like, you know,
Nice
it
to us
doesn't
pavos.
it doesn't mean as much, but lacking self-awareness is frustrating to me.
Yeah.
So
Let's see. Let's catch up on the comments. She could be paying for the price. Yeah. Okay. Maybe she's Norwegian. I don't know how that's relevant, but who knows. My family were fairly well off until I was 9. Then we moved to the countryside, and so jobs don't pay as much. From about 9 to 15, my parents struggled, but now they are fairly free to do what they want. She might realize now that it's important. Yeah. She may not have at the time, which clear is what she seems to say, that it didn't matter. Relationship before and were with people in my social class, so the wealth wasn't as important because it was just expected that you were wealthy. So they didn't talk about it in the previous relationships, and so she just assumed that it wasn't a thing you talked about either, which could be an indication of her lack of awareness of poorness, and that poor people do talk about their wealth with their significant others, because usually there's not a lot of it. So maybe that could be indicative of that. I do still think he was being a cunt about it. Like, I understand, like, but how long were they dating? 8 months? That's not that fucking long.
but it's long enough.
It's long enough, but it's not so long that it should be relationship breaking. You know what I mean? It's not like she kept it from me for 5 years or 2 years or something like that. It's 8 months, and you're well off anyways.
I mean, they're nearing their late 20s. How old is he?
26 as well.
26? Okay, they're both 26.
Yeah.
They're nearing more distance from their parents, so I understand that, like, it wouldn't need to come up as immediately, but, like, I would personally be very transparent about the way that, like, the money dynamics I have with my parents, because it is so constantly relevant to not as much to me, but to talking about my siblings. I have to talk about it if I'm going to talk about Morgan. So,
but like also like if your parents were crazy rich and then all of your siblings weren't like leeches off of their crazy richness, like if they like also became wealthy because they had good school and stuff, which it seems like is what happened in her situation, is that she doesn't need to dip into her parents' money. So it may not feel relevant to her. Now, if let's say he doesn't make a lot of money, let's say he doesn't have a good salary in comparison to her, then it would be more important, I think, because it could be helpful to the finances for him to know there's a safety net if he loses his job or if he doesn't bring in enough money, she can compensate for that. And that's a conversation you have. But since it seems to me he also makes a decent amount of money, he just doesn't have like a giant pool of wealth to dip into from his parents like she does if he needs it. Like, I still think this isn't like a acceptable thing. Like if one of us Pavo motherfuckers, like if you found out I've got millions of dollars in the bank, you'd be pissed the fuck off because I went without paying rent for so long. You know what I mean? Like that would be fucked up. But like if they're both well off, it's not as big of a deal if she's more well off than him.
Yeah.
Because he's also fine. Like he doesn't need the financial help, if that makes sense. He's not a Pavo. She's just, her parents are just obscenely rich.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I feel like if he was struggling to pay rent or something and she wasn't helping with that, this would be a bigger problem, but that's never mentioned as an issue. And I think she would have brought it up if he like was poor, like actually poor and not just in a different social class. Because she says, he and I have very good salaries. So I don't know what very good salaries means to her, but very good salaries indicates to me that she doesn't have an issue with the amount of money he brings in. So, you know, I just think it's not as big of a deal as he was making it out to be. If I was 8 months into a relationship and found out my girlfriend was like, her family was super fucking wealthy, but we were both making plenty of money, I'd be like, I wish you'd have told me, but like it doesn't really change anything. We're both still wealthy. But if I was as poor as I am now, I'd be like, bitch, what the fuck? Like I'm over here killing myself to make $20 an hour, and you can just dip into the millions that your parents have any day. You know, like I feel like the wealth dynamic has to be more equal for it to matter less. And at least based on what she's saying, it seems like the wealth dynamic was fairly equal. The only difference being she could dip into money if she needed to, but doesn't. So,
I mean,
does that make sense?
Yes, I do see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Money is a single-digit date conversation to me. So 8 months is a long time.
That's right.
Not everyone is me.
But we're also poor.
But 8 months is a long time.
We're also poor. So, like, neither of us make, like, an obscene amount of money. Like, we both make good money. Like, we're not poor. You know what I mean? Like, we can afford rent. We can afford food. We never have to worry about not having food.
Right.
You know, but we're still poor, and relatively speaking. So, money is still important. Because, especially for me right now.
I mean, I'm not poor.
Yeah.
But
it's me right now, especially, am much poorer than you because I, sat on my ass for 6 months and didn't fucking get a job. So I did this to myself. But still, I have to think about money more often, just like you had to think about money more often. And you were conditioned to think about money more often due to your upbringing. So
because
like,
my parents talked
so
about money all
the
the
amount
time.
of money we have is far more relevant to our lives than if we could always throw $600 into our savings every
Right.
week. So I feel like that it's expensive to be poor because you constantly have to know how much money you have. Whereas when you're fine, when you're well off, you don't got to think about it all that much. You might have to check on it if you're like gonna make a big purchase, but otherwise you don't really need to.
Yeah, and sometimes there's also weird dynamics because of gender roles, like for
Yes,
the woman to be
like
more
if he made
expensive
less
than the
money
man.
or something,
That
yeah.
is kind of a weird culture thing, so I do understand that as well. I think they both handled it poorly. I think her handling it poorly created a situation where they both handled it poorly.
Yeah, I think he
But-
overreacted, but I also don't know how obscenely wealthy her family is.
Right.
They could be like ridiculously wealthy.
They own a villa.
She called it
She
a villa.
used the
She
word
called it a villa,
villa.
and I'm just like, girl, that's rich. Like, I grew up fine, but my parents don't live in a fucking villa. You've seen my house. It's not a villa. It's a house. It just looks like a house. It's a
Even
normal
if-
ass house.
Even if you lived in an area where your house could be like more accurately described as a villa, calling it a villa
Makes
instead
you
of a
rich.
house.
Yes. It's like calling your where you grew up an estate
Yeah.
instead of just a big house. You're calling it an estate. That means you own land as well as the house. Stop it.
Nah.
Nowadays, having family money to help with down payment on a house is becoming common. True, because, millennials and Gen Z are poor,
Yep.
but their parents are generally not as poor as them. I've been told that in order to pick up Norwegian women, you don't talk about your past. Was that advice coming from a German? Another American, so I definitely took it with a grain of salt. Fair. Were they with someone from Norway? They got stationed in Norway for like 2 to 4 years. We would easily fall within the 1%. I mean, the 99%. They could work in oil. Yeah. True. They could be like oil tycoons or something and have a like stupid amount of money.
Well, and they're also not. Hang on. They're not American, so that they don't have America dynamics.
How do you know they're not American?
We say spoiled.
True.
Yeah.
True.
So probably they're in a place that was colonized by Britain. So
Most likely, yeah.
yeah, or in Britain. But if they live in a villa,
Rich.
that's not usually a word you use. I don't know. I don't know as much about British colonies as I'd like to. But like, yeah, they don't live in America. But which I think that wealth is a problem everywhere. In America, I think maybe it's a little bit different.
Yes, wealth dynamics in America are very different due to our shitty-ass healthcare system. Because, like I said, like, if he had been in a car accident or something and had some crazy medical bills because insurance is ass and she needed to dip into her parents' money, that'd be something he would need to know. So he's not stressing about the fact that he can't afford to pay for this medical bills. Or if, let's say one of them was diagnosed with cancer or something and they had to take care of that and he didn't know that they would have money for it, you know what I mean? And he took out a loan not knowing she had access to money from her parents, things like that, like where money would be important. I think there's only a couple sentences left.
We finished that paragraph.
I think all the people who commented on my original post and gave me advice, I felt like I was doing something wrong, but you made me see that it was his insecurity and jealousy that was the issue.
It wasn't him. It was him.
It was him.
But it wasn't entirely
him. It was
him.
both, but I think it was more him. Because of the way she paints it as he's well off too, just not as well off as me. Like, he may have grown up poor, but he is currently fine. You know what I mean? He and I have very good salaries indicates to me that he doesn't need her parents' money.
For sure.
Just the way she doesn't need her parents' money.
Right.
He just probably didn't grow up wealthy like she did.
Yeah.
But now it's not as relevant to their current daily life because they both make good money.
I still feel like this problem is...
I don't fully side with either of them. I do think she should have told him, but I do think he overreacted. Both are true at the same time, in my opinion.
I just hate when the entire problem is because people didn't use their big boy words.
Yes, I agree.
Just talk. Instead of calling her a rich bitch, just say,
why the fuck
I
didn't you
feel
tell
weird
me?
about this because of this reason.
Why did you keep it from me?
Why did you keep it from me?
And
I
she
feel
can
insecure
say,
about this because my family didn't grow up with these resources.
And then she can say, I didn't think it would be important, and then they can have a conversation about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Be adults.
Have a conversation. Don't just be a whitey little bitch baby about it,
Yeah.
Should she have told him? Yes. Should he have blown up at her? No. Calm the fuck down. Like, it's not like you're struggling from paycheck to paycheck. You know what I mean?
This gets an everyone sucks here stamp.
Yes, yes. She's got really good attitude towards the situation, which makes Dickhead X even more ridiculous. Exactly. She seems very self-aware, which makes him look like more of an ass. Because it's clear she understands that she grew up wealthy, which is very important for wealthy people to understand, is that they grew up wealthy. Especially if you grew up in a villa, I can't get over that. He acted like a brat and then blamed her for calling him out on it. Sounds like a chip on his shoulder got in the way. Exactly. Especially because he whines saying that she broke up with him because he's poor. After he started being a dick.
Yeah.
Like, no, if she wasn't going to break up to you because you were poor, she would have done that a while ago. 8 months is too long to date a broke bitch if you don't like dating broke bitches. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I think he overreacted and didn't behave like an adult. Like, yes, she made a mistake in not telling him. But from the way she's painted it, she didn't think she would need to.
Right.
So that was just a mistake on her part. She should have, but she didn't know that she should have. So they could have had a conversation about that, like you said. An adult conversation, you're both adults. Talk like adults, Everyone sucks here.
Yep.
Mistakes were made.
I know this isn't from the
26 is an adult.
Asshole,
26 is a fully grown adult. 26 is your brain has stopped developing. 26 is an adult. Just because you're old, Jarek, doesn't mean 26 isn't an adult.
Yeah. 26, your brain should be fully developed. You should be fully supporting yourself. You should be out on your own, no assistance from anyone, and you should have figured out
26 is when you're off your parents' insurance also, so even more adult.
Right. I think by 26, you should also at least have figured out how to communicate like an adult.
Yes.
Like, yeah, everyone has dysfunctional childhoods, dysfunctional ways of coping with life, with mental illness, with stress, but... But, like, by 26, you really should figure out how to use your big boy words.
Yeah. I can't remember what my family in Australia does, but they have a proper mansion-looking house. These are like 3 or 4 places removed family to me. Okay.
Okay.
It is 3:40. We can keep going if you're enjoying yourself.
We could do a little Am I the Asshole?
The next one is from Am I the Asshole?
Okay.
It is still a best of, so there will be updates, but the original post is from Am I the Asshole, so it's kind of a little bit of both. I think this one is just from r/confessions. But this next one is Am I the Asshole?
Okay.
But it's up to you when we stop, because today's your birthday, so you can do what you want. And this one's concluded, too. I like when they slap that on there, because it means there's not a cliffhanger at the end. All right. Original post, March 29th, 2023. My husband, 58 male, and I, 56 female, recently met my son's 24 male girlfriend. My son is 24 male. The girlfriend is not a 24 male. For the first time. He's been crazy about her. Apparently, they've been dating for a year before he decided to have her meet us officially. What he's told... Oh, wait. The original was... Am I the asshole for kicking my son's girlfriend out of her house? Sorry, I forgot to read that. What he told us about her all seems great. She just got her degree, was enjoying her job, family-oriented, etc. I'm honestly just glad he's happy with her. My husband and I don't think he's ever been into someone before, so I feel pretty bad about what I did. Last weekend, he brought her over for dinner. By now, we've been anticipating meeting her with how much our son has been gushing about her. How perfect she is, that she's the one, in his words. They ring the doorbell, we open the door. She looks exactly like her pictures, which is a great start. My son is grinning ear to ear, another great start. We invite them in. She accepts my hug and a firm handshake from my husband, and then she opens her mouth. I'm the one your son puts his penis in? This is fake. This isn't a real post.
Yeah, this is completely fake.
This didn't happen.
Nobody would ever say this.
I mean, the mood spoiler was secondhand embarrassment while reading, but nothing too serious. Is that what you're laughing about, Jared? Did you get ahead of us too? Marry her, he said. But she said penis. Why didn't she say dick? Dick is more, like, accurate. Like, it's more
I feel like penis is just such an awkward word.
Yeah, just say I'm the one... Your son puts his dick in me. It's still weird,
Like,
but, like, it feels
penis
less
makes
weird
me
than
think,
penis.
like,
Like, why are you talking in
science.
medical terms? Like,
Yeah.
like, why are you doing that?
Like, a penis
Red
is an
flags.
organ.
She said penis instead of dick. Just say the correct word. Why are you doing this?
Well, she said the correct word.
No, say the correct word. You're speaking to people that are human.
If she's trying to make a joke, why didn't she use the joke word?
Yes.
That's the thing.
His ding dong.
Yeah.
It's still weird.
That is super weird.
Yes, penis sounds more clinical in my brain
Yeah.
than dick.
And the fact that
Don't read ahead.
I was just gonna scroll up and say she knows her partner's age, which is 24. She knows that his parents are a lot older than him. They are over 30 years older than him. So she should expect that boomers would be a different level.
It's
of
still
humor,
weird.
different level
It's
of
still weird.
expectations.
It's still weird. These are his parents. You don't talk about your boyfriend's dick to his parents.
No, you suss out the room, you meet them for the first time, even if he tells you that they are that kind of jokester, you do not make that joke immediately.
Yeah,
You
not
don't.
that's not the first words out of your mouth.
No. Give it
She
like
said these are the first words out of her mouth when they met her.
No.
The first words they ever heard from this woman's mouth are, I'm the one your son puts his penis in.
Crazy.
Terrible first start. Terrible first start.
Crazy.
To be frank, I was appalled. I expected my husband to laugh. Both he and my son are jokesters, and as annoying as it can be, I love it. But this was just too much for me. Maybe I'm reserved, but of all things she could have shared about my son, that she told us that. One look at my face, and my husband knew how much I disapproved. Maybe I let my expectations get too high, and it's unfair to have them, but I reiterate, of all of the things to say to her boyfriend's parents, whom she'd never met, she chose that. My son was amused at first, but when he noticed my reaction, his face dropped. I felt like he'd sold me the full package, everything he'd always been looking for in a girlfriend. I was too disturbed by the visual put in my head, and it translated into anger. Which is fair. That's completely fair. She put the idea of your son fucking her into your head first thing.
No. No.
Get the fuck out of my house. Huh?
Yeah.
I love you. I love my son. I'm glad he loves you. Get the fuck out of my house. Huh? Don't do that to me. I don't want to think about my child having sex with you.
Well,
I don't even want to think about my sister having sex, despite the fact she is an adult and can do what she wants.
If you've been dating someone for a while, it's expected. I'm sure the parents
You
expect it.
You assume that this person you've been dating for a year, that y'all have fucked at this point.
You don't say that.
But you don't talk about it. That's not that's not
to
appropriate.
boomers.
No, not to parents.
Not to
Not to
anyone.
parents. Stop it. You can talk about that shit with your friends, with, relatives that aren't your parents, but your parents
Crazy.
or your potential parent-in-laws in the future? No. What are you doing?
Crazy.
I I told her to get out, and I wanted to say more about how gross it made me feel, but I fortunately left it at that. My son didn't want to go, insisting I give her another chance, but I was too fed up and uncomfortable by this point. Even my husband, who enjoys his fair share of raunchy jokes, wouldn't let up. They left, and I immediately felt guilty. This was something my son had really been looking forward to, and I felt like I took that away over a dumb joke. I tried calling to apologize, but he hasn't responded. My husband thinks that she's the one who should apologize. She should. I'm considering giving her another chance, but before I do, was I the asshole? No. What the fuck?
That's pretty
Is this woman's IQ
insane.
in the single digits?
I think that the girlfriend/child needs to apologize. I think perhaps there's a conversation that needs to be had between the mom and the son for her to explain why she wanted to immediately kick out the girlfriend, because maybe there's a miscommunication there. Maybe they need to level set the boundaries, and then the son can be like, oh, now I'm understanding why that was so horrible, even though I thought it was funny. Then he can communicate that to the girlfriend, and then the girlfriend will understand.
Yeah.
Moving
She
forward,
does say that her
being
husband and
adults.
son both have the same humor. Yeah, but even the husband was like, that's weird. Late 50s aren't boomers anymore. They're top tier millennials. No, they're still boomers. Technically 50s are Gen X, but I think at this point, I believe boomers are older than that now, but they're still boomers.
Well, my mom is 58, and she's like a cusp boomer.
Yeah, so 50s.
Yeah.
So 56, 58, you know, kind of in the middle there. Inviting his girlfriend around for the first time and then basically being told to get out, that's gotta hurt. Yeah, but bringing your girlfriend around for the first time and her talking about how you fuck her to your parents on the first time you've met them and you've not developed that kind of relationship with them yet. Like, maybe if this was like a few months into her meeting the parents and she understands the raunchiness that the dad has and kind of gets in on that and then makes that joke, that makes, like, if this is like showing up at the house for like dinner like several months after meeting them, and that's a joke you make at the beginning, that makes more sense. You're acquainted at that point, and you understand the jokiness of the family. But this being the first time they met her, no, you're not part of the family dynamic yet. You can't start doing that day one.
Yeah.
You gotta get in there, understand the family first, and then you can start making jokes like that.
I do agree with Jarek. Yeah, it's one look at my face and my husband knew. I expected my husband to laugh. The husband thought it was funny, but he looked at the wife and saw that it wasn't funny.
Yes.
The son was also thinking it was funny, but the wife is the one.
But she said she's used to that from the husband. So if this had been a built up relationship with the girlfriend, and then she dropped the joke a few months in to knowing the mom, I think the mom would have been less taken aback. But because this was, as the mom put it, the first words out of her mouth, she was thrown. She was thrown for a loop. You know what I mean? I feel like if this had been a couple months in, it would have been less, like, shocking, you know, because they could have established that she also has the same sense of humor as the husband and son. But since that wasn't established before she showed up, and it's also the first thing she fucking said, does that make sense?
It does.
Like, I totally side with the mom here. That was fucking weird. What the hell is wrong with you? You know? I can see how the son would refuse to take calls. Yes, I can get being upset, but you have to understand that your mother does not have the same sense of humor as you, which seems to be a well-known fact in the family, that the dad and son are the same, but the mom is a little more reserved, but will tolerate it. But first thing out of your mouth, I don't care what image he's painted of his parents in your mind, that is not an appropriate thing to say on your first time meeting them.
Yeah.
I don't care if these are the chillest parents on the goddamn planet who will swear like sailors 24/7 and want to talk about your sex life. That is not the first thing you talk about when you walk into their home the first time. That's weird as shit. What are you doing? I would also tell them to get the fuck out. What the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Let's try this some other time, because clearly you were not prepared for this.
Yeah, it is possible that the boyfriend
set a better
communicated that the dad had similar humor to him, so she made the joke to ingratiate herself with the dad.
Not knowing
and
the
the
mom
boyfriend didn't
wasn't.
fully communicate that the mom was so different.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's possible this is the boyfriend's bad.
Yeah. Because I don't think that's a normal thing. That is not a normal thing to do, so he has to have set that expectation for her.
Yeah.
I'm almost inclined to blame the boyfriend, which
People
is
aren't
like
typically like
normal. All right.
Okay. Comments?
relevant comments. Question, is it possible your son told her to say that?
Yeah.
Answer, this honestly wouldn't surprise me, and I'm not gonna lie, I'd be disappointed in him. That's not something he'd ever say in front of me directly because he knows I'm not a fan of any personal jokes of that nature. So to make his girlfriend say it wouldn't be very good, and I'd hope that if this is the case, that he makes it up to her somehow. I'll try to reach out again and let them know we can try again. That possibly makes me feel 1,000 times worse that the son set her up for that. Yeah. Question, did she even try to apologize, or was she nervous? Answer, honestly, I don't think I gave her enough time to react properly, and I regret that. Things could have gone a lot smoother if I had. She was just sort of frozen in shock, and she kept looking at my son to try to convince me not to kick her out. I guess she wasn't sure what else she could say at that point. It's hard to say for sure because I don't know her that well yet, but I think she was anxious, too much to realize that what she said was inappropriate. So if she was embarrassed, I couldn't tell. I also don't think I gave her much of a chance since it all happened so fast. I'll try to reach out to my son about it. Mom isn't the asshole to kick her out of the house. It's still their house. Boyfriend not returning the calls is meh. Girlfriend definitely went for left field. Wrong, just being a matter of point of view between mom and dad. Yeah, I don't know that anyone's the asshole here. I just think it's an awkward situation. I feel like everyone... I feel like the mom responded appropriately. I feel like the girlfriend was out of line, but not to asshole degree. Unless that's where they do it. Unless that's where he sticks his dick, then maybe it is to an asshole degree. Haha, jokes. But she didn't say where he sticks his dick on her. So, okay, question. Has your husband been making any raunchy jokes leading up to her visit? Something like, can't wait to meet the person you're sleeping with. Answer, I can't honestly say no. I've never heard my husband say that. He's raunchy, yes, but not when it comes to our kids. Okay.
I mean, if the son texts his dad all the time, that's fully a possible thing that the dad said. So that would make sense if that had been set. If the son had talked to the girlfriend about how he communicates with his dad via text, definitely makes sense that she would say that.
I don't know if I'm sure that's a relationship some dads and sons have. Is like, how's the sex life, kid? You know, like getting any good pussy. You know, like I'm sure that's like a conversation some parents, some dads and sons have. As someone who has never experienced that in any capacity, I can't speak to it from my personal experience, but I'm sure there are parents, like fathers and sons especially out there, who talk like that. And it could be, since they are so similar, it seems based on the way the mom's painting it, that's definitely a possibility that this was the situation here. You'll never find me doing that. Yeah, same. All right, I agree we should have been more patient about it. I think if we were to try again, things will go much smoother. Hopefully we can laugh about this later down the line and leave it at that. I wish I took this approach without making too many excuses for myself. I could say I got too caught in the heat of the moment. I'd love to give her another chance just as long as I'm not given any more graphic visuals, especially at dinner. I hope she's willing to try again. He's not forcing me to give her another chance. I want a do-over. I think we all deserve it. I don't think she'll make another joke like that again. Question, can you try texting or contacting her directly? I would love that, but I unfortunately don't have any way of contacting her except through my son. He said he'll give you a call when he gets the chance, so surely by the end of the week. I can't imagine how badly I've made her feel about this and regret it. Also, we're going to get an update at some point, because this is updates. So, the update should be done. There's the edit. We're almost done with this portion, though. Question, a few heavily downvoted comments on you should be more sex positive.
That's not the
answer,
take.
Not gonna lie, I think this took an extreme turn. I'm not against sex inclusivity or positivity or whatever it is. I'm well aware it's human nature and that my son has sex. I know it's normal, but I'm entitled to my ignorance about the details. Yes. I've already been dating they've already been dating a year. I'd be surprised if they weren't having sex. That doesn't warrant her saying it, though. Exactly. Same with me and my sister. Like, before I moved out, she wanted to tell me about all the sex she was having, and I was like, A, okay. B, I don't want to know that you're having sex. Good for you. You're having safe sex. That's great. I don't need to know the details, because she was giving me details. Not just my boyfriend and I are fucking. She was giving me details about the fucking, and especially at that time, I was not nearly as comfortable with talking about sex as I am now, and especially not with my little sister. I didn't want to hear about her sex life in such intimate detail, and I don't think she understood that. I probably wasn't communicating it well, but I was like, okay, you can do that. I don't need to know about it, though. I don't need to know about that. I don't need to know about all the everything. And
you're also asexual, though.
Yes, also that. But also, you're my little sister. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's weird. Like, I still look at you as a baby. You know, like, you might be an adult and able to make those decisions, like, legally, but, like, I don't need to hear about it. The same way that, like, if my kids came to me and like my kid's partner came to me and was like, "We're fucking," I'd be like, I don't need to see that in my brain. Like, I know you're fucking. You've been together 4 years. I'm aware that that's happening. I just don't need to see it in my mind. All right, I don't need that picture in my brain. Like, even if I wasn't ace, that's not an image I want in my mind. Just like this mom doesn't want the image of her son having sex in her brain, because that's not a normal thing to think about. Is your kids having sex? You know what I mean? Like, that's not like a. Especially with the image that was painted in her mind of your son sticks his penis inside of me. Like, that paints a very clear image, not like, oh, we fucked last night. You know, like, that's a little less descriptive than your son sticks his penis in me. You know, like, that's very, like, thank you for painting that image in my mind. Get out of my house. Like, you know what I mean? Yes, I'm entitled to my ignorance about the details. 100%. Absolutely. Yeah. It's the classic "Daddy, can you pass the salt?" but on steroids. Yes. Daddy, can you pass the salt? And both the father and partner pass the salt at the same time.
Gross.
Iconic, incredible. Probably something that would pass in this family once she's more acquainted with them, though.
Yeah, that feels like the kind of joke that would
that
be
the
fine.
Dad would find funny. Yes.
That the dad would find funny and the mom would be all pursed lips about, but not be like this.
Yes, especially once it's like father-in-law.
Yeah.
And she says, "Dad, can you pass the salt?" You know. Because you're not going to call your father-in-law daddy. You know, that's weird. You call your own father daddy, but, like, you know, but calling your father-in-law daddy would be weird. But you can be like, "Oh, Dad, pass the salt," and then they both go for it. That would probably be something the family would laugh about. But, you know, she should have just used dick instead of penis. Could have turned this whole thing around. Yes, I
think
agree.
it's possible.
All right. Time for the couple of days later.
Yes.
Okay, edit. I should clear up some things. My husband had no part in my reaction. I did the kicking out, not him. I don't want him taking the fall for this. He said she should apologize, but I'm not expecting an apology. Sorry for confusion. My son lives in a nearby state. It can take about an hour to get back to where we live. He also hasn't dated anyone seriously for a while, maybe a couple of years. He told us before that he wouldn't bring anyone home unless he's sure he wants a future with her. We've been asking to meet her ever since he told us about her, but he wanted to be ready. The comment about her looking like her picture shows my age. Sorry for that. He's only shown us her photos. She sent him as apparently he didn't have any of them together. He hates taking pictures, and she's apparently always teasing him about it. I don't think he'd ever lie about who she is, but it's just a parental concern I've subconsciously had. I felt the same way about my daughter's then boyfriend when we first met him. I don't have any criteria that either of my kids' spouses need to meet. I just hope my kids are happy with them. What I meant by her being the full package was indicative of what he told us about her. As his parents, we have a good idea of what he looks for in a partner, and she's checked off everything based on what we've been told. And on top of that, everything, aside of what she said, her appearance was how she presented it to be. Again, we aren't strict about appearances. It's just a relief to have met someone for the first time, and they look like what you'd expected. Mm-hmm. My husband said that I was worried about secondhand catfishing, if that's even a thing.
It's absolutely a thing.
Yes. I guess it shows how anxious I was about this. Also, thank you for your comments and rewards. I've had a few people reach out to me personally to thank you for that. Regardless of where you stand, I appreciate it personally. I think everything, blah, 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 blah. I'll be sure to give an update. OOP is voted not the asshole, which is correct. Mm-hmm. Okay. Update. Thanks for reaching out, everyone. My son got in touch with me. His girlfriend agreed to try again. We all met at a restaurant, and my son and his girlfriend chose that restaurant. The first thing she said was an apology for what she said. I apologized for my reaction. We hugged. It was nice. And then she explained how my son had convinced her a joke like that would land well. Yeah. And that she wouldn't have said it if she didn't think we'd like it. According to my son, she was elected to open with any jokes at all, but they came up with that one together on the way over. You guys were right. Yeah. She's a really sweet girl. She's actually very mature, too. I see why my son likes her so much. My husband and I really like her. We told our son to bring her when he visits. We look forward to seeing them again. Overall, I'm glad we could start over on the right foot this time. Thanks, everyone, for your input. When in doubt, blame the boyfriend. When in doubt, blame the boyfriend.
That is so sad.
Yeah. They were like, "Oh, yeah, do a joke." And she was like, "I don't know." And he was like, "No, do a joke. It'll be funny." And then they came up with a joke together, and then that was the reaction. The way, he got his ass chewed the fuck out on the way home. You fucking told me that would be fine. Why did we get kicked out? And he's like, I don't know. I can imagine exactly what that conversation was like on that drive home. Fucking marry her already. Yeah. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Nice. That ended very well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't think anyone was the asshole. I think
it was just a misunderstanding that needed to be fixed, and it got fixed.
It was a misunderstanding. No one was the asshole.
Yeah. Yes. I don't even think it was an overreaction to kick them out.
No, I think that was
a perfectly appropriate reaction. Get the fuck out of my house. The first thing you're going to talk to me about is my son's penis inside of you. Get the fuck out of my house. What the hell? Like, He didn't get to stick anything to her for a while after mom's reaction. Forget the chewing out. That's true. Yeah. No sticking it in her anytime soon. No. He was too busy sticking it in his. Yeah, we already got there. Yeah. And the son didn't go, wait, Mom, I told her to say that it's not her fault at any point before the apology dinner. But it does something like she rushed them out of the house after that. She said she didn't really give the girlfriend an opportunity to apologize. Yeah, so it's possible the son also didn't have an opportunity to be like, oh, no, I told her to say that. It's not her fault. That was me. I fucked up. Don't, like, it seems like they didn't have an option for that.
Together, then he was probably quite shocked. So I'm sure that was not.
It seems he probably was also thrown by the mom's reaction. So I would have been like, close the door, then say over the closed door, let's try that again. Yeah. Like a sitcom or something. Yeah. Yes, I'm glad the second meeting went well, but the son is an idiot for even suggesting that as a joke. Who says something like that when you meet the parents?
Yeah.
For the first time. No. What are you doing? Yeah. It reminds me of those shirts of, like, when you've got a kid and the kid wears a onesie and then the dad's got a shirt and the mom's got a shirt and it's like, essentially the convo is, I fucked her and we made this. It's super tacky and weird. Some families might find it funny, but it's super tacky and weird. Like, we know that's how babies are made. Clearly, you fucked her and made that. That's how that works. That's how making babies happens. We don't need you to put it on a shirt and announce it to everyone. Having the child around announces it to everyone for us. Like, that is implied. You have a child, a baby. It is implied, unless stated otherwise, you fucked her to make it. Like, that's sex 101. That's how.
For sure.
I've done that with some troops. Nice. I imagine these sorts of jokes are common. They enter the room and they say something off the wall, and I'm like, walk out of this room, come back in, and try that again. Yeah. Let's start over. Let's try something else. Yeah, that one ended well. It was definitely like, oh my god, like.
Yeah.
But him being like, let's make a joke. Yeah, that makes sense. How's the vibe? Want to keep going?
I'm tired.
You're tired?
Yeah, I want to cut my hair and I want food.
This is a longer stream than I expected to get today, and I think only because I changed when I was going to be taking my car in. So, we could do more Reddit on Wednesday. I assume we'll start probably closer to normal time on Wednesday. No stream tomorrow. I've got stuff to do tomorrow. So, and I won't be able to work it around stream. But I will see you all on Wednesday. That will be the last stream here in Nashville. It'll be Wednesday's stream. No packing streams. I will be packing off stream. I will get distracted if I'm trying to pack on stream and then I get packed. So, as you all know. But we'll probably do Reddit again on Wednesday. And then hopefully I'll see you the Wednesday after that as well. But we'll have to just see how the moving goes. I'm sorry. My brother is a meth head. My sister is a spiteful whore. I read that and my brain went, sorry, what now? Taking down your posters on Wednesday. I'm gonna take down my the small stuff tonight or tomorrow night, and the posters probably will be down by Wednesday. Yes. Although I might wait to take them down until during the work week because that's when I'm gonna disassemble the desk and everything is during the work week. Is in the mornings before I go to work. I'm gonna take all this stuff down, or maybe Wednesday night after stream. I'll take it all down then. Who knows? It's very much a figure it out as I go situation. So,
this is how I would behave if I won the lottery.
Yeah. I kept my job, didn't move, and kept my fucking mouth shut. Yeah.
Paid off my debts, hired an accountant, fixed things on my car, saved it, kept my job, didn't move, kept my fucking mouth shut.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah, I'd buy myself a new car just because the current car has been such a pain in my ass, and I'd like a car that's not going to constantly cost me money. But I might wait a little bit and like make payments on it instead of just buying it cash, or at least tell people I'm making payments on it, even if I'm not, so they don't know I've just suddenly gained $4 million, because you can make that $4 million last.
Yeah,
I'd probably reduce my hours at work, or not pick up extra shifts, just work the normal thing.
I'd probably still work my job.
I
might stop caring about promotion
because I have this. So I would like maybe
Yeah.
downgrade to like 20 hours a week and then just do this because I can. You know, then I still have some income, but then I also have my 4 million backup for when I need. Imagine having $4 million as some backup money.
Crazy.
The way I'd be getting top surgery tomorrow. I'd walk into the doctor's office and say, "Let's schedule an appointment. I could pay you in cash day of." Yeah.
So yeah.
It makes sense though, since it seems the family life isn't great, so
Yep.
not going to be giving any of that.
They
to
know
them.
that the people in
would-
their family.
Would scramble to take it from them.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, you ready for a haircut, Max?
I am. I feel very shaggy.
You look very shaggy.
I've needed a haircut.
You don't look shaggy.
I do.
No.
I do.
You look shaggy for
I
you.
look shaggy.
For you look shaggy. Any other person just thinks you look normal.
Look how long the hair is.
Yeah, I know it's so long, Max.
It's so long. It's too long.
The amount of fucks I give is already way too low, and then we add $4 million. Shit. Yeah. Well, just don't give it to them. It sounds like he hates them already. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, there's a difference between just not giving it to them and like being able to actually
But like,
just not give it to them. Because
yeah.
like, if your
but also the
sibling
brother
is
is a meth head. If he knows you have that kind of money, he's gonna
And
be
he knows
at
where
your.
you live?
He's gonna be at that door every single day asking
Yeah.
for money, and you don't want to put up with that.
If you told them you won the lottery, you would have to move.
Yes. To a place that is undisclosed. So, and that would affect the whole keeping job didn't move, keeping my fucking mouth shut. So,
Yeah.
I kind of want to read this one. Fucking shit. It's so long though.
We can read it later, because I'm tired. I want food, and I want to be non-shaggy, and it's my birthday, so you have to do what I want.
I know. Shut up. I'm the one who said that like 6 times today. Because even though it's your birthday, I'd still be like, no, we're going to do this. And you'd probably say yes. You'd give some pushback, but I could talk you into doing it. Like if I decided to watch, if I said, no, let's watch Pacific Rim instead, and I pushed on it, you'd say, yeah, sure, fine, we can watch Pacific Rim instead.
You could, but I'm running out of energy.
Exactly, which would make it even easier.
I never finished my coffee, and I've only had 2 muffins, so I need some food.
Yes.
But we're going to get a lot of food from Chili's, so
Exactly.
I'm saving room in my tummy.
Another reason I don't eat breakfast on non-work mornings is because I'm trying not to run out of food for breakfast on work mornings, because that's when I need the food, whereas here I can just snack on shit and eat some pizza rolls for breakfast if I feel like it. So, I'm trying not to go buy more food. So, all right, that's going to do it. I will see you on Wednesday. We might have Max join us for that as well, since it'll be the last stream where Max will be able to be here in person, at least for a very long time.
Maybe.
So, unless you come visit me. You want to get the one you dropped?
Yeah. I don't want to go to Omaha.
You don't want to come visit me?
I don't want to go to Omaha.
But that's how you visit me. You go to Omaha.
Yes, I understand. I could just ship you to my house.
But then that's not visiting me. That's me visiting you.
Yeah, which is what I prefer. Why would I go to Omaha? Why on earth would I go to Omaha?
It's just the flight. The flight's the only thing that's expensive.
Yep.
Meeting halfway would be just as expensive.
And there's what even is
And meeting halfway would mean we'd have to
there.
pay for somewhere to live.
Yep.
Whereas no, that's too far of a drive. I don't think you understand.
I mean, Nashville is halfway. Don't want to come back here. It's like a 19-hour drive between Omaha and Richmond,
Oh, you've
so
looked?
it's not. I think you looked.
I don't remember looking.
I feel
but-
sure that you looked.
But you went to live where Max is anyway, so no, I don't.
You did at one point?
I did, but it was too fucking expensive. Yeah,
Yeah,
18
it's
and a half
19 hours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with lots of traffic.
In the middle is like Indiana, Illinois.
Yeah, drive right through Indianapolis.
Yeah. Or you could just take a 4-hour flight. You might be
Yes.
able to take direct.
It's not a very expensive flight. Yeah, it probably would be a direct.
I'm guessing that direct flight is probably one of those ones that doesn't have carry-ons or anything, though.
Which is fine. I don't.
Oh, probably most of them are going to be one or more stops. You might be able to get an Allegiant, but
484 is not bad though.
no.
That's really not bad for that far of a flight.
Yeah.
That's really not bad. That's 1,200 miles. That's a cheap ass flight for 1,200 miles.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
But why would you not want to visit if you wanted to live there if you could afford it? I would visit if I lived there, because it would be an hour away. But
18 and a half hours away isn't just let's visit, like a...
Well, yeah, it'd have to be very planned.
Yes, especially considering that getting time off from work is very hard for me, so...
Yeah, but you could just come during the week. And I could just ask time off.
That's
you
true.
wouldn't have to ask time off.
That's true, but it's just the flights are generally cheaper on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Right.
So
that'd be complicated.
yes. Thing is, though, I live really close to the airport. Like, it's not that... I mean, I live really close to everything in Omaha, so I could live on the other side of the Omaha from the airport, and I'd still be really close. So I can drive up to the airport, park my car there, and just pay for it to stay parked there. So then I don't have to have someone Uber me there or anything like that, so...
Depending on the circumstances, sometimes you can get a cheap ticket on a Monday. You just have to be really cognizant of the time.
And plan ahead.
Yeah.
I think my plan is to come visit you during my top surgery recovery, assuming I'm allowed to fly.
So you're trying to get me to take care of you during your surgery recovery?
You already said you would. But no, the main recovery
then...
will be with the drains, which I'll do by myself at home.
Okay.
And then once I get the drains removed and I'm healed up enough to where my doctor says I can fly, I will still need to recover. I won't be able to go back to work yet. So I'll have all the free time in the world to come visit you. So...
That's not recovering.
But it is. As long as I'm not working. Because work requires this, and I can't do that if I'm recovering, because I need to not stretch my scars out. And I can visit you and sit like this. I don't raise my arms above my shoulders, above that, if I'm not working most of the time. So streaming will be a little weird, because my desk is up. So I'll have to figure that out before I go in for surgery, because I'm not going to go 2 months without streaming. So especially when I don't have work to do. I'm going to be sitting at home doing nothing for some of that. So Mac's already questioning visits. Yeah. They don't actually want to see me. They're full of shit. So
no, I just don't want to go to Omaha.
Yeah.
There's nothing in Omaha.
Yes, there is. There's me. I'm in Omaha.
That's it.
There's a cat thing. There's a thing where you can pet cats down a block from my apartment. What do you mean there's nothing in Omaha?
You wouldn't want me to do that.
Well, you could.
I feel confident there's something like that in Richmond. Ain't no way.
But is it a block from your apartment?
Probably not, but it's possible.
Can you see it from your apartment?
I live in the hipster side of town. It's very possible that there's one within walking distance.
Probably, yeah. Most likely.
I mean, Richmond is the hipster side of town, just the whole thing. But
Yeah.
I live in a hipstery side of town.
Yeah, my sister asked me, she was like, do you just never want to see any of us ever again? And I was like... the list of y'all that I want to see again, I can do on one hand, so...
My thing is that I know that you are the kind of person who doesn't really do stuff. So
No.
if I go to Omaha, we're just going to sit in your basement apartment.
Well, if you came to Omaha,
come-
we do stuff. But
Right.
the perks of being in a place where there's not, like, zoos and aquariums and all that shit because it's a smaller city is that me not going out and doing anything isn't me missing out because there's not a ton to do. I'm going to go to the movies. I might go rock climbing in the rock climbing gym. I might go up and shoot some archery at the archery club. You know, little things like that. But there's not, like, big stuff over there, you know. The closest
there a
people
theme
get...
park?
The closest people fucking get to coming there for, like tours and stuff is Kansas City, which is 3 hours away.
Is there a theme park anywhere?
I believe so. I believe I passed one of the Six Flags on my way up there.
I think the one
I
you're
think it's
thinking of
in-
is in St. Louis. There might be a closer one.
I know I passed one between St. Louis and Omaha.
Okay.
Let's see.
Because there is a Six Flags St.
I can't
Louis.
show you the maps because I've got my home address marked, my new address marked, so I can't dox myself like that.
Sorry.
Amusement parks.
Near me. But they're going to show you the ones near Nashville.
That's okay, but I can search the area once it loads.
Why isn't it even loading up? Okay. It's just struggling. That's the answer.
It's just a big area.
Uh-huh.
Oh, there's a Great Wolf Lodge in Kansas City. Fun.
Yeah, but
Oh,
is there,
Legoland.
like,
There's a Legoland.
a Legoland Discovery Center is a different than a Legoland.
I don't know what that is. What
Well,
is that?
probably different.
Is there a site?
We can look at this later.
There is a site.
It doesn't... We don't have to look at this on stream.
Well, why not? They're watching. They're here.
that?
It's like got like rides and stuff.
Like some rides. It looks very much geared towards small children.
Yes. It's Legoland. That's what it's for.
The Legoland we went to in Germany rocked. It was so cool.
What's this?
What is Worlds of Fun?
Oh, it's got it's got a Planet Snoopy.
Oh, click on it.
Let's see, World of Fun. And this isn't too far away, so it would be like a day trip, but because it's like 3.5 hours from where I'm at. But
If there's an amusement park.
I love it. Shows one coaster in the picture.
In Kansas
It's
City.
LGBTQ plus friendly. That's good because that's what we are. So we cover a lot of those letters.
Yeah, looks pretty Six Flagsy.
This is a Six Flags website page.
Uh-huh.
It's like the Kroger webpage, but Baker's. It's the same thing.
I mean, it's not owned by Six Flags. So.
No, but that's exactly what this is exactly what the Six
yeah,
Flags.
it's like
page
a
looks
regional theme park vibe.
Yeah.
Not as big as like a Cedar Point kind of thing, but like a Six Flags kind of
Why
thing.
does it say Oceans of Fun? Does
That's
it have
just
a water
the-
park as well, I guess?
Yeah, I'm assuming. Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay, there is a reason to go visit you.
Yeah, I live near Kansas City. There's a bunch of shit in Kansas City. Let's see if there's any in Omaha. I don't think there are, but who knows? It's very little.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's showing like
Boulder Creek Amusement Park.
Got
Park.
mini
It's got
golf.
mini golf.
mini golf,
Water park and rides.
but you don't like water parks.
Stingray Beach. What's that? Oh, I can go pet stingrays.
Yeah, it looks like
That's just down the
mostly
street
there.
from me.
They've got some water parks. They've got some mini golf
We got
type
Pirate
stuff.
Cove Water Park.
Yeah.
They've got actual like parks, like national parks.
Trampoline park.
Uh-huh. Trampoline park.
But yeah, we need to go to Kansas City.
You don't know.
Be the farthest west I've ever been.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be cool. Okay, maybe I would go visit you.
I'm also near Des Moines, and I don't know what's in Des Moines.
The whitest city ever?
No, that's in Oregon.
I'm still pretty sure it's Des Moines. Oh, because, are you saying because they were going to build that white supremacist?
No, because
haven?
Oregon was so racist that they were like, we don't want your slaves. Get the black people out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Washington did that too.
They went so far into white supremacy that
They
they
looped back around to
became
anti-slavery. Yeah. They were only anti-slavery because it would bring black people around, and they were like, no, thank you, we don't want any of that.
I
Okay, there's
adore
nothing in Des Moines.
Yep.
There is more in
It's
Omaha
Des Moines.
than Des Moines.
Because it's Des Moines.
Oh, Cedar Rapids.
Let's see.
You could go to the Cedar Rapids. I don't know why it's highlighted, but
I don't see anything that's like amusement parks in Cedar Rapids.
yeah.
I don't know. I do a lot more research.
It's also on the other side of Iowa, so
Yeah.
probably just as far, if not farther, than Kansas City. So
Mm-hmm.
Wichita, Kansas, baby. Omaha definitely gave me more of a city vibe than Des Moines. Yes.
Yeah.
Des Moines is smaller.
Yeah.
Better start making a list and you know how many visits are possible before you run out of ideas. I went to a ropes course 2 Fridays ago. Got to zip line for the first time. That I had to strap myself by myself without an instructor over my shoulder, which was, whew.
That's spooky.
I thought you were LGBTQ unfriendly. It depends on the LGBTQ. Okay. See y'all Wednesday.
Yes.
Thanks for being here. Wish Max a happy birthday.
24.
The big 2-4. All right, y'all.
Bye.
Goodbye.